this summer, and the second concern being his health and conditioning. In other words, the man was out of shape. So let me get this straight. Are Wemby and Jokic. Now just try to wrap your head around the deal a team would have to offer in exchange for Nikola Jokic, or what the Bucks would get in return for Giannis. Here's a hint, there isn't one, because they would never trade them away. The deal doesn't exist. Tim McMahon of ESPN reported that Dallas had two major concerns in regards of Luka's future with the franchise. The first one being his massive $345 million 5-year extension, which he would have been eligible for this summer, and the second concern being his health and conditioning. In other words, the man was out of shape. So let me get this straight. The Dallas Mavericks just traded away the best player of a generation, the future of their franchise, and the man that just got them to the finals on one leg because he put on a few pounds. For fuck's sake, Zion Williamson ate his way into load management, and he has spent the last 6 seasons in and out of rehab, and the Pelicans are still sticking by him. Now, Zion didn't deserve that stray. Seems like a nice guy. I wish him the best. But you get the point. We are now over a decade into the process, and the Sixers have yet to move on from Embiid. It's one thing for a franchise player to want out, to sign with another team if they aren't happy and the opportunity presents itself. But for a franchise to pull the trigger and get rid of a megastar in his prime because of constant conditioning issues is criminal. There's really no precedent or great comparison for a trade like this, because in the past, even when teams did trade a superstar, there was context behind those trades that at least made it seem justifiable. Either the star was exiting their prime and the team was trying to salvage some value before they inevitably left, or despite how good the star was, the team wasn't finding much postseason success and wanted to go in a different direction. Or the star was bound to leave anyways, made it known, and the team had no leverage, so they were essentially forced into the trade. This deal between the Mavs and the Lakers has none of those elements involved. Luka didn't request a trade, he's 25 years old in his prime, and the Mavericks championship window just opened up. Now, as a Blazers fan, I am painfully aware of how hard it is to get your hands on a true franchise player. Painfully aware. In our team's entire 55-year existence, we've had 3. The first one got hurt, the second one was incredible, the potential third one got hurt, and the actual third one was also incredible. That's about one superstar every 20 years.
Wow.
What does the lackluster history of my team have to do
Wait,
with
how
this
are
trade?
Blazers?
Well, because the Mavericks should know a thing or two about keeping their hands on a generational talent. Because in their franchise's history, they've only had 2 of them. Dirk Nowitzki and Luka Doncic. The first one spent his entire 21-year career in Dallas, facing ups and downs and winning arguably the heaviest and most challenging championship of our lifetime. And the second one, they traded away for AD in a box of scraps after just 6.5 seasons of a promising career.
Yo, how really be tapped in. We already been noticed though, but yo, it's just hilarious.
And as every
Box
fan of
scratch.
a non-major
Nah,
market
that's a
team
new
knows
one.
all too well, generational talents only come along once in a generation. The Mavericks aren't some hotspot for superstar talent. They don't get real chances to win it all often. Just 3 trips to the finals in 45 years.
Damn.
One of those trips at the hands of the guy who they just sent packing. They cannot afford to roll the dice and hope for greener pastures like just sent packing. They cannot afford to roll the dice.
Wait, Doncic and Dirk Nowitzki played when Dirk was still in the league?
And
Or is this AI?
for greener pastures like some other teams can. You are not the Lakers.
Damn, I didn't know that. It probably was his last season
You
when
get a player
Doncic
like
came to the league.
Luka and you lock that man in and throw away the key. What are we doing? It could be another 20 years before a player of Luka's caliber puts on a Mavericks jersey. And the team traded him away because he was mildly out of shape. It makes me sick. This is coming from a desperate man who's got 18 years left before I see another Dame. Which brings us to their second concern. Again, according to sources, the Mavericks were not keen on giving Luka an extension that would have made him the highest paid player in the league. But if the third best player in the world, who gets better in the playoffs, is a perennial MVP candidate.
Maybe thinking about it too, like I think the Mavs also did this, like obviously it comes down to business at the end of the day with these trades, but like do you think just because like Doncic's been injured and this is as long as he's actually been out in his entire NBA career so far, this shit low-key scared the Mavericks? Like, damn, like, bro, do we really want to pay this guy 300 mil, 350 M's? You know what I'm saying? And he can be just... Because, look, Embiid hasn't played all season. He's out for the rest of the season, I believe. You know what I'm saying? They paid Embiid a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And along with other NBA players. And the problem is, within these past, like, I want to say 5 to 7 years in the NBA, a lot of NBA players especially have becoming way too comfortable, bro. You know what I'm saying? Sitting out games, especially games where it's just like, hey, bro, what are you sitting out for? What did you forget to tie your shoe or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like stuff like that. So I think maybe the Mavs at the last second was like, damn, bro, like, what if Doncic comes back, but then just like he gets injured again and he's missing half of the next season? That just ruins us for 2 years straight. I think the Mavs kind of got scared, man. Shit, I don't know.
Who's
a lot of
hitting
questions.
his prime isn't worth paying, then who the hell is? Dallas said that this was a win-now trade. An oxymoron of a statement considering who they just traded and where he just got them last season. But superstars win championships. Superstars also cost a lot of money. And if you're not willing to empty your pockets, how committed are you to actually winning? In what world has being cheap ever won a team a title? It just seems completely counterintuitive to what they're trying to accomplish. Now, the implications of this trade for the Lakers are just as drastic, but for entirely different reasons. For starters, this will be the first time in LeBron's entire career, youth, high school, NBA, a lifetime of basketball, where he won't be the best player on his team, which is already a huge adjustment for him and the team as a whole, but specifically because Luka and LeBron essentially do the same exact thing. oversized on-ball floor generals with elite scoring abilities. In fact, they not only have the same skill set, they take on the exact same roles on the court. LeBron has always initiated the offense, even if it meant relegating point guards to other positions. And this usually worked in the past because no one did what LeBron could do nearly as good as he could do it. But now there's a guy who can do what LeBron can do, only better. So that means unless Luka and the Lakers are okay with him getting neutralized, LeBron will have to truly play off ball and within the flow of the offense for the first time in about 2 decades. 2 LeBrons on 1 team. Sounds great in theory, probably a bit redundant. Which leads me to believe the Lakers are actually playing a longer game with this trade. Sources report that the Mavericks are the ones that approached LA with this trade. And despite the Lakers playing fairly well as of late, I think they knew their chances of winning another title with the LeBron-AD duo was getting slim. So with the option of trading away key pieces and tripling down on a 40-year-old LeBron to carry them to the promised land, or trade for a megastar that just showed up on their doorstep 5 minutes ago, they couldn't book AD's flight to Dallas quick enough. Which makes me think this move was the first step into the post-LeBron era in Los Angeles. As we all know, LeBron will more than likely retire within a season or 2, and the Lakers needed a new face for their franchise, and they just got it. Inexplicably, miraculously, in the most Lakers way imaginable. I always wondered what LeBron's final years would look like, how he would go out, who would be around him, but never in my wildest dreams did I imagine it would be playing second fiddle to Luka Doncic in a Lakers jersey. All in all, it seems like the Mavericks won this trade. If you zoom way in and look at this in an 18-month...
It's crazy, man, because I just thought about, like, bro, LeBron had motherfucking AD and Doncic to finish off the rest of his remainder NBA career, and then MJ had Kwame Brown, bro. Like, that's actually, like, imagine if, like, MJ had the same amount of, like, help LeBron had, bro. Like...
window. But
crazy.
Zoom out, and the Lakers are looking around asking themselves how they just pulled off a bank heist. With AD, the Mavericks lineup looks good, possibly a winning formula. But the Lakers got Luka Doncic, and in 20 years, fans will look back and wonder how one of the greatest players of all time in his prime was traded away on a random Saturday night.
Hey, man. The NBA getting spooky, man. It's getting crazy, man. All right, man. So, we got this one video I wanted to check out with you guys. Bro, did you guys see this right here? Doncic copped a $15 million house in Dallas. And I was trying to see if it said it in the title. I believe when I seen it on a blog page, he copped it about a week ago. And then he come to find out they just traded him.
Chandler Parsons on the Run It
So
Back
we're gonna check it
show
out.
revealed some things about Luka Doncic, like how he settled on a house about a week ago, Luka being in tears when he found out about the trade, and he also texted
Oh,
Mark
he was
Cuban
in tears. I didn't even see that
in
part.
his reaction about Luka's trade.
My biggest issue was professionally, respectfully, how they handled that. Me and Lou were good players. Lou, much better than I was. And Luka, his career has been unbelievable. Most of those star players have a dynamic and a dialogue with front office, with ownership on what's going to happen.
Like, the fact that even happened, bro, like seriously, what a... Doncic do, bro. Like, seriously, like, that's just foul, bro.
I find it extremely disrespectful. I find it
Thank you.
horrific bad business for you just to go and do this. And I'm also not buying that J. Kidd just didn't know. I know you have to keep it in-house. I know you have to keep it close to tight, especially nowadays with social media, and Sham somehow gets in there and finds everything out. But I just think this is bad business when you draft this guy. This dude just bought a $15 million house. Just closed it last week in Dallas. Apparently he cried like when he found out. And this is your everything. He took you to the conference final last year. I just find it extreme.
Now, obviously, you know, Doncic can still have, you know what I'm saying, multiple places. There's nothing wrong with having multiple places and stuff, but it's just principle, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Doncic has, like, a family or not, I want to assume, but it's just messed up, man. The NBA, man, it's a cold world, man. And it's somebody very, very, you know what I'm saying, sketchy in the Mavericks, you know what I'm saying? It's somebody. It's somebody, man, that was behind that.
BS.
That's
and
nasty
and there
work.
needs a change around when players make decisions like this to understand that more. That's better for their future, their family, their life. Don't say Nico did this because he thinks it's better for the map. So it's not a consistent thing, and we always get caught up on the player leaving. He's a bad guy. Like Jimmy Butler wants to be traded right now, probably for a real reason. Like he's off the hook a little bit, in my opinion, now, just based on this one move.
Right. See, I can see if this was Jimmy Butler, they did it. So at this point, you know what I'm saying, Jimmy Butler did it to himself. But Doncic, bro, I damn near forgot damn near, you know what I'm saying? Donaghy, obviously, we know he's in the league, but he's been quiet because he's been injured. You feel me? That's how, you know what I'm saying, problematic he is, dog. Like, they do that shit to Donaghy. And you know what's the crazy thing that I've been seeing he quotes on Twitter? Yo, fellas, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't think shit sweet if you in a relationship that your girl will not trade you for another nigga, bro. Because it will happen. Remember, it's only just your turn. Like, I think this entire trade situation could just, like, give you a valuable lesson about life. I feel like I remember, like, this one other quote, too, that was, like, said way back then, bro. And it was saying something about, like, never attach yourself. It was, like, these 3 things about never attaching yourself. But I know the first one, but I don't know the other 2. But it was basically saying something about never attach yourself to, like, too long, like, to a business or something, like, around that type of, like, ball frame. Basically, what that means is that don't attach your feelings to a business rather than just attach your business aspect to the business, but not your actual love to the business, because it can end up hurting you, if that makes a little bit of sense, man. So, man, I hope this stuff is, like, teaching. This is low-key, like, a life lesson for, like, everybody in the world, man. Like,
said, I'm so confused, and he wrote
in
back,
all
that
aspects.
makes 2 of us. So that kind of tells you right there, he wasn't involved. And by the way, this new ownership, Patrick Dumont and Addison family, they're business people, right? They're Vegas casino, real estate moguls. They know nothing about the NBA and basketball. So they have fully given Nico the keys to do decisions and make big, bold moves like this. So I believe Mark. I think this is just more of a shock. The comment he said now is coming to light about, filing on Monday, which obviously is getting pulled back to light. But
hey, man. So we got that part, and then I wanted to check out with you guys. We got a lot of news. So for NBA Central, just kind of scrolling around. Bro, so my Golden State Warriors have called on every All-Star in the NBA. According to the Charizard dude. Yo, the Warriors are going to work, fellas. Stay on that side, bro, when it comes to my Warriors, bro. Let's hear it out.
Are the Warriors?
The Warriors are legitimately calling about every All-Star player. You just name the All-Star player. The Warriors have probably called it. And Paul George, they have called it. They made calls on every star. And that, of course, includes players like LeBron, players like Kevin Durant, players like Jimmy Butler. They are making calls. They are dead set on trying to find another star player.
Hey, we about to get a Kumpo, bro. Remember when Kumpo said he don't mind coming to the Warriors? He was on Instagram Live and somebody said you should go to the Warriors, and Kumpo read the comment and said it out loud. Yo, that would be the most dynamic, perfect trade ever, bro. Trade Draymond Green, Kuminga, and a couple of round picks and stuff for a Kumpo. Oh, man, game over. Come on, Butch. Go ahead and do it, bro. Y'all got Damian Lillard
Superstar player with Stephen Curry. That is another subplot to this trade deadline as well.
Hey, man, that's some crazy stuff. All right, so we continue to look around. We're just kind of scrolling down. Oh, bro, look what's on the Explorer page, bro. Hold on, we're going to look at that in a second. KD potential return to the Golden State Warriors. Trade talks heating up. KD, come over here, bro. Come back over. Man, bro, this is crazy, bro. This is like, the most like, every second there's some new news, bro. And then we just read this already, according to Chandler Parsons. Donaghy copped that house. And then Warriors have shown interest in Paul George. To be honest, I'm not even trying to be messed up, bro. Keep Paul George, man, on the Sixers. I don't want no Paul George, bro. That man is podcast P. I can drop him off in the 1v1 at this point of his career, bro. Like, I even hate to say it, unless Paul George comes out and has a 40-point game, this brother is washed, man. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Nobody wants Paul George, the Warriors. Please keep him on the Sixers and let him keep doing his podcast over there in Philly. Please, keep him over there. We don't want him. The Miami Heat has asked Grizzlies for young players, but were rejected. The Grizzlies sample had hell exploring and talks about Miami, so you can read that, y'all. And then Milwaukee Bucks have shown interest in Kuzma, yet there has been very little chatter on Milwaukee's pursuit of Butler in recent days. You have the Buns have been listening to Kevin Durant trade talks, which I just talked about on the Explore page, but this was 8 hours ago. Now, apparently, he may go back to the Warriors. Several people within the Warriors front office have dreams of LeBron James and Kevin Durant and the Warriors teaming up together on Golden State, bro. And mind you, this isn't Centel. This is NBA Central. They're a reliable source. So I think this is the one. Oh, this is 7 hours. This is the one that was on the Explore page. Okay, so this Kevin Durant one is saying, Kevin Durant, 1 of the most, 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 The Warriors, March Sound reported, did not move forward with their own contracts regarding Zach LaVine and Vujovic this weekend. Warriors need to deliberate over the pursuit of Jimmy Butler and wait for it. Bro, you know what's funny? I think the Warriors are actively in this trade. You know what I'm saying? Market right now, 80% of the reason because of your boy Dut Reacts, bro. I've been applying pressure literally every single Warriors loss that we need to get a trade or some type of a signing, bro. This is amazing. The impact, man. All right, and then you have Tucker or PJ. I don't even know how this dude is still in the league. I'm surprised he's not playing with Dwight Howard. He kisses a lot of ass, bro. Like, because Tucker literally has more sneakers than he has total points in the league. Bro. So apparently interest is the Buns, the Sixers, the Heat, the Bucks, and the Mavericks. Thank goodness he's not no interest one of the Warriors, because that brother is trash. He just sucks. And the Lakers are no longer LeBron's team, they're saying. Brian Warhorse said. Let's check this out.
The big thing that had just happened is every year of LeBron's career, 21 plus seasons, everything that the teams have done when he's on it has been about him. That is no longer the case. Everything the Lakers will do going forward will be about number 77. They are now Luka Doncic's team. That is a complete different situation. So
funny thing is, like, LeBron's ego, he's not going to allow that. Unfortunately, Doncic's going to have to be second. Like, am I not speaking facts? It's just
how the Lakers address their roster, because the roster is now messed up. They don't have any big men. And whether they make moves for this LeBron era this year or this year or maybe next, or whether they make moves for the next 3 to 5 years, will tell us a lot about what they're thinking. And by the way, when it comes to Dallas, they're not done either. I suspect both of these teams will make another move or two before Thursday afternoon.
A31 if we...
All right. You got Caleb Martin. I don't even know how he's still in the league. The Lakers and Kings have shown interest. And okay, I scrolled as far as possibly down. Scroll up a little bit more. Whoa. Okay, this is fresh. 7 minutes ago, the Warriors are reportedly desperate. Are surveying their canvassing to degree. Yes, they are. Bro, come on, man. This is clickbait. The Warriors are not desperate, bro. Let's be honest, bro. All we need to wait for is Draymond Green and Kuminga to come back from injury, bro, and we're right back in the top 3 in the West. We just need an extra little addition because it's going to help our squad. Like, bro, have some respect about the Warriors, man. Nobody's desperate, man. Come on. The Suns are strongly considering KD deals before the ends. You have the Warriors still remaining in the mix for Butler. Executives around the NBA are probably furious that the Lakers were the only team allowed to bid for Doncic. They were the only team allowed to bid for him? Executives from around the league were both furious and jealous that the glitzy star-driven Lakers have been the only team given an opportunity for the bid. I mean, I don't know. How do y'all feel about that one? All right, and then we got some interesting video right here. We got Curry's live reaction to the Luka and AD trade. This video just came fresh today.
I know that you get happy. Good or bad?
Got pods in the cut.
Other than good or bad, that's real.
Yo, pods is hilarious, man.
Just because.
Hey, man, that's some crazy work, man. You know, if you have NBA players like reacting like that, it just shows. You know what I'm saying? Like everything. Let me see, because you know these news is coming in like hot. You know what I'm saying? Like hot, like bacon right now. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm making sure I can find every page just in case they put out some new news. Because I always have a weird habit. Look, 3 seconds ago, we got some new thing. AD and Max Christie with the message to Mavs fans. This is literally 3 seconds ago, fellas.
Mavs fans, your boy AD here.
What's up, it's Max Christie.
Max. And we're excited to be a part of the organization, be a part of the team. We're going to do something special with y'all, man.
We're winning a lot of games.
A lot of games. We're excited, and we can't wait to get on the floor, support the team, and do what we do best.
Yes, sir. Go Mavs.
Hey, man, it looks like AD and Max Christie are in good spirits. Hey, and I'm not going to lie to you, the Mavericks, I mean, obviously, compared to Doncic, it's still not even. But, like, bro, Max Christie is a solid role player, averaging about 10 to 15 points per game. He has great energy, plays both ends, offensive and defensive ends of the floor. Like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, like, the Mavs is still a second-plus round team, bro. You know what I'm saying? And they actually got better defense. Defense wins championships. I had reacted to it on stream. about if you've seen it at the last NBA Chaz video, it was on the side of the GM and the Jason Kidd. They basically was talking about like, okay, like, oh, the reason why we made this trade is we wanted like a two-way player that can, you know what I'm saying, play defense and stuff. So hey, man. And then we got Doc kept it real about the Luka trade. He said, I thought it was AI generated. Hey, I mean, shit. My man Doc Rivers is pushing 60, man. So, of course, did anybody else think it was AI generated? We have first look Fox in the Spurs uniform, or is he wearing number 4? And we have a random football news right here. Cooper Kupp says the Rams are seeking an immediate trade. San Diego Rams, man. I mean, wait. No, San Diego Chargers. LA Rams. How do y'all feel about this, man? Now you guys know Kupp is a Pro Bowler. So, hey, man, I don't know how y'all feel about this, man. What do you think, Kupp? Hey, Kupp, come to the Patriots. Come to the Patriots. Yeah, come to the Patriots. Why not? And then we have 80 says goodbye to the Lakers. 6 years I came here with the vision to win a championship, and I will never forget the moment we did, which was in 2020. So my teammates, our friendships go beyond a locker room and a jersey. LA will always have a special place in my heart. LeBron might not call it quits anytime soon. Chance LeBron signs extension with Lakers as Luka addition could extend James' career. What do you guys feel about that? I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like LeBron, he max has 2 years left in the league, bro. Because what LeBron doesn't want to do, like you don't want to, like even let's say he lasts 5 years. Those last 2 years of those 5 years, you don't want to average like 15 points per game because that's just going to leave a lot of room for people to try and call you washed and stuff like this when it's the most fucking Dr. Obvious that you're obviously older and at the end of your career. But you don't want to have that type of stuff, especially with the way social media is. They dragging that shit out, you know? Any more other news? And they said Mark Cuban couldn't believe the Luka news. I texted Mark Cuban and I said I'm so confused. He wrote back, that makes 2 of us. Yo, somebody is lying! Somebody is lying! Somebody is lying! You're talking about people like Mark Cuban, LeBron James, who is damn near, they're not damn near, they are fucking multi-billionaires, bro. You're sitting up here telling me you did not know about any of this, bro. Who is lying? Bro, the truth is going to come out within a week, bro. I'm tired of this. I'm actually genuinely tired. That was the final straw right there. You're talking about, this is not even the coach of the Mavericks. This dude is the owner of the Mavericks. Yo, do you know what the owner, bro? Mark Cuban right now, with the snap of a finger, can shut down the entire Mavericks franchise and move to like the middle of southern South fucking Dakota, my nigga. Like, you're going to sit up here and tell me you did not know that was going to happen. Bro, who is lying, dog? Somebody is lying. I'm sick of this shit. And we had Danny Ainge did not know he was helping Lakers trade for Luka. He only had 30 minutes notice. LA was landing Doncic. By then it was too late. Somebody is lying, bro. You got a Kumpo was asked about the Luka trade and said is for all his dream is for all the European stars to go to the big market.
To the Lakers, I want Jokic to the Knicks.
Bro, that's the most random shit. Bro, Kumpo, what are you talking? I know what the title says, but bro, that's the most random shit. Yo, Jokic to the Knicks, bro.
I want all the Europeans to go to all the big markets. You know.
Wait, hold on. Does this confirm that Kumpo's going to the Warriors? Because the Warriors are a big market team. He just said he wants all the Europeans to go to the big market, right? Bro, Kumpo's going to the Warriors, confirmed, because everybody knows the Bucks are a smaller market team. Bro, this is amazing. Come right over. And then we've seen that, Luka crying with this trade. And then we got one last clip right here. Luka's message to LA fans.
What's up, Lakers fans? I'm in LA. Excited to meet you all.
Hey, man. He like, hey, man. What do you guys think about everything that's going around the league right now? It is getting crazy.
On the internet, specifically on TikTok, there are some wild, bizarre conspiracies. conspiracy theories. Theories that not even Alex Jones would touch. Now, what I have come to learn over the years is that just because something sounds crazy doesn't mean it isn't true, as many conspiracy theories that were once seen as crazy have proven themselves to be true. We do in fact live in a crazy world, don't we? For this episode, I wanted to talk about a few of the conspiracy theories people have sent to me. We will call out the ones that don't make sense and the ones that seem to have some truth to them. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos every other day exposing the truth. In today's episode, we will be looking at some of the wildest TikTok conspiracy theories that just might be true. But before we begin, I just wanted to ask you guys to like, comment, and subscribe so we can get this video seen by everyone who needs to see it. I want to thank you all. Now, let's get right into it. The first theory we're going to be talking about is the theory that some powerful or influential people could be time travelers. This theory was made by the self-proclaimed top numerologist on TikTok, Gary GG33. I spoke about this guy one other time long ago when I did a video on XXX Tentacion's mother, who he was interviewing. Gary makes this theory and claims that people like Keanu Reeves, Nikola Tesla, and someone in the Trump family are time travelers.
You think Nikola Tesla was a time traveler?
Yes. I don't think he's a genius. I think he just went back in time. One of the keys that someone is a time traveler is they can't have kids. If you don't belong in this timeline, you're not going to have kids. Tesla didn't have kids. Keanu Reeves had so many kids that died of miscarriage. If I was to bet one person for sure is a time traveler, I would say Keanu Reeves.
Why Keanu Reeves?
He's born in 1964. He looks really good for his age, but that's not enough proof. What is proof is his wife. His wife is born in 1973. She looks like she's a zombie because she looks so old. I'm thinking this guy's sucking the life out of her just to keep himself looking young. Number two would probably be someone in the Trump family because they're the ones who went into Tesla's workshop, started looking at his work. The Trump family was not rich before they stumbled on Nikola Tesla's work.
His dad was the one who cleaned up his work, right?
His uncle.
So I didn't even know they had any correlation.
Yeah, when Tesla died.
And someone went in and seized all his It was the government.
Trump.
And the guy who actually started investigating everything, that was Donald Trump's uncle.
What are the odds of that?
As you heard for yourself, Gary claims that Nikola Tesla and Keanu Reeves are time travelers, stating that Keanu Reeves doesn't have children and looks so young, and that's an indicator of him being a time traveler. He also claimed that because Trump's uncle was the man who was sent in to gather Nikola Tesla's important documents, that they somehow stole his time-traveling technology. Now, I am assuming Gary made this theory in reference to Nikola Tesla, who had allegedly been working on a time-traveling machine before his death. Tesla was in fact a brilliant inventor, but there isn't any credible fact to support the idea that he was building a time-traveling machine. Now, for Gary to refer to people like Keanu Reeves being a time traveler because he has no kids and doesn't age is far-fetched to say the least. I don't buy this theory at all, and honestly, I think this Gary guy is kind of full of it. I have been sent plenty of his videos, and they are always wild assumptions just like this, but with no evidence to back his claims up. While I don't know if time-traveling technology has been achieved yet, I can honestly say I wouldn't be surprised if it has, especially since if it was created in the future, it can then exist in the present, since we are talking about time traveling. My issues with this theory is that the people he's claiming to have used this technology just don't seem to be the people that would have access to it. Claiming that Keanu Reeves is a time traveler, I just can't buy it. While he might be a multi-millionaire, he's not an elite. He is just a puppet of the elite. To me, this theory, at least in my book, is debunked. Now let's move on to the next theory. The next theory I wanted to talk about was the theory about John F. Kennedy being taken out because he was trying to stop the New World Order and dismantle the Federal Reserve System. This theory was made by someone I just spoke about in my last video about Masonry, William Cooper. William Cooper claimed that due to certain orders John F. Kennedy was trying to establish, that he was taken out.
John F. Kennedy was short-circuiting the New World Order. He had ordered the printing of constitutional money, United States notes, which would have destroyed the Federal Reserve, which is not an agency of the United States government. It's a private corporation owned and operated by the world bankers, controlled by the Illuminati. And its purpose was to destroy the middle class in this country and thus our economy. You see it unfolding now. You are seeing, and I've predicted this well in advance, you are seeing the destruction of the economy of the United States. And it will continue. It will not get better. Downhill from here on out, unless we nationalize the Federal Reserve, lock up the criminals who own it, cancel the debt, which will then bankrupt the Illuminati, which is exactly what we ought to do. Print constitutional money, which cannot be usurped, which cannot lead to our destruction, and go back to what we're supposed to do. And quit contracting for benefits. We're escaping from the laws of nature, and there's a terrible consequence for that. You can't contract for somebody else to keep you alive. You have to be responsible within your life to keep yourself alive. And if you can't do it, then you have to die. That's the law of nature.
As you heard for yourself, William Cooper claims that Kennedy was trying to short-circuit the New World Order by destroying the Federal Reserve. I have actually made a video on the Federal Reserve, specifically how the Federal Reserve Act replaced the gold standard. In fact, the bill to pass the Federal Reserve Act was created by some of the richest bankers in the world on an island in secrecy. I agree that the Federal Reserve Act does seem to play an important role in the blueprints for the new Masonic World Order. Some of the bankers who created the Federal Reserve were no other than the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and even Morgan Chase. What most people don't know is that the Federal Reserve isn't a federal bank and isn't connected to the federal government. It is actually a private bank backed by a group of elite bankers. If you guys want to see a full breakdown on this, comment the Federal Reserve below. Now, when it comes to John F. Kennedy attacking the Federal Reserve, this does seem pretty accurate. Executive Order 1110 was issued by the US President John F. Kennedy on June 4, 1963. This order was a threat for the Federal Reserve and called for the issuing of silver certificates. This issue was passed just a few months before he was taken out. John F. Kennedy was the same president who stopped the CIA from creating a false flag attack on the US people in order to convince the American people war with Cuba was necessary. This was called Operation Northwoods, and Kennedy did not go for it. In my opinion, Kennedy was indeed the only one president who might have said no to the real ruling elite, and it does seem like he paid the price for it at the end. I'll label this conspiracy theory true, in my opinion at least. The next theory we're going to be talking about is the theory that the Church of Satan is controlled opposition. I don't know the guy who's speaking that made this theory, but I found it extremely interesting. If you guys know who he is, please let me know in the comments. According to this guy, the Church of Satan is controlled opposition created to hide the real satanic cult.
Even understand the Church of Satanism? That's controlled up. They want you to think Satanism is about red horns, a pitchfork, this LARP character. Anton LaVey's real name is Howard Stanton LaVey, and the Satanic Bible was written by Asaph Dayan, which is the son of Moshe Dayan, who basically founded the IDF.
Yeah, he helped, he ran weapons and sent weapons to Israel as he was infiltrating Hollywood to push Satanism.
They're so ahead of the mark that they produce controlled opposition Satanism. So that instead of looking at Talmudic Satanism, which is really what Satanism is, a stepping stone towards, if you look deeply enough, they just want us to look at Anton LaVey, Satanism, LARPing, a bunch of these dysgenic losers or incels getting together and LARPing and like, yeah, down with Christianity. And then all the boomer types get offended. Actually, that's a distraction, while the actual degeneracy and the normalization of evil is happening through these Talmudic folk.
But no, I do think it's interesting that at the same time, he's trying to create Israel, and he's also pushing Satanism at the exact same time, the exact same guy.
They know what they're doing.
But it's also, you look at like some of their, like, they believe in their gods. Look at Epstein Island, for example. You see that giant, that temple built there. These are the most elite people in the world. They believe in this stuff. We cannot believe in it, but they believe in their demon gods.
Yeah, ultimately, the world is run by...
Now, at first, it sounds ridiculous, but the more you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Let me explain why. The Church of Satan is definitely a cover for the real occult secret societies. It was created to give the Christian community a recognizable enemy. It was also made to throw Christians off, because most of those that are a part of the Church of Satan aren't true occultists and aren't learning real occult rituals. Those who are true occultists are a part of real secret societies like the Lima, the OTO, and Freemasonry. The Church of Satan is a gimmick. Everything about it is gimmicky. The devil they use to represent themselves is not even accurate. The devil isn't a red guy with a pitchfork and horns. That is what he has been presented as. Lucifer is an angel of light that occultists follow as the path to enlightenment. They see Lucifer as forbidden knowledge, the light to their illumination. This is what these secret societies are indeed chasing, but they do not worship Lucifer, they worship themselves. Now, Anton LaVey himself was a real occultist who was connected to Masonry and other real secret societies. His Church of Satan was a recognizable enemy and a cover for what these real occultists really participate, which is search for enlightenment through Lucifer. So when it comes to this theory, I have to agree with it. It seems to be true. The next theory we're going to be talking about is the theory that the Catholic Church could be the Whore of Babylon that is spoken about in the Bible. Again, I couldn't find the name of the person speaking in this video. If you guys know who he is, let me know in the comments. This guy's theory suggests that the Bible describes some similarities between what's described as the Babylon woman and the Catholic Church.
Continuing on, Revelation chapter 17 verse 4 says, "The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication." Notice how this woman or church is arrayed in purple and scarlet. These are colors of Catholic cardinals and bishops. Cardinals wear scarlet to symbolize their willingness to defend their faith, even to the point of shedding their blood. And bishops wear purple to signify penitence, humility, and the dignity of their office. Babylon, being adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, is a reflection of her wealth, and the Catholic Church is considered by many to be the richest church in the world. An online post entitled, "How Much Money Does God Have?" by marketplace.org states, "The church has vast assets, including billions in real estate and some priceless art, not to mention the Vatican Bank. But its finances are largely secret, tallying that immense wealth is pretty much impossible, according to experts."
As you heard for yourself, this guy points out these interesting similarities between what the Bible describes to be the Babylon woman and the Catholic Church. Now, I will say that it is quite strange, and I really don't believe in coincidences. I know the history of the Catholic Church, and I have done videos on what I have found out, but I'm not quite sure if this is accurate. Now, I can't deny that it seems like there might be something to this theory, but I need to look deeper into it so I can see what I find. So for now, I'm gonna leave this one as unconclusive. The next theory I wanted to talk about was the theory that the planets are actually fallen angels. This theory was put out there by a TikToker named John Truth. In his theory, he claims that all the planets in the sky are fallen angels.
There's no such thing as other planets or outer space. I believe the planets are actually just fallen angel beings, and I'm about to show you. So we know, according to scripture, stars are angels, angels are stars. We know that we all live under God's firmament. There's no such thing as outer space. So all the stars or angels are inside the firmament. Right? According to Revelation, the 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, right? So we know stars are angels. Right? We know 1/3 of the stars of heaven or the angels fell, right? They disobeyed God. These are known as the fallen, right? Now the book of Ezekiel gives us a description of what some of these angels look like. As for their appearances, they four had one likeness, as if a wheel had been in the midst of a wheel. So a wheel inside of a wheel. This is a picture of Mars captured by the Nikon P1000 camera. What do you see? A wheel inside of a wheel. Now you can go find a bunch of Greek and Roman gods that actually have the same names as the planets. They were named after them. Because they're not actually planets, the false gods are really just fallen angels in disguise. This stuff is no joke, you can go look it up. Why do you think they had us building these solar system projects in school, trying to get us to memorize all these names? We were giving false idolization to these false gods. Right, and they gave us hints, right? Some of them actually do look like wheels inside of wheels, but this is fake. It's not what they actually look like. These are the true photos of what these so-called planets actually look like. They're all wheels inside of wheels. These are the fake ones. Now these are some pictures of stars as well that have the same exact appearance. Just normal stars. Alright, so what God has ordained for these angels is to move in this circuit type fashion around the earth, right? Right, so if there was certain of these stars or these angels not moving in this circuit, they'd basically be disobeying him, right? Which is what the planets are, wandering stars. I believe they are part of the fallen, which is why they are connected to all these Roman and Greek false gods. I believe he gave us a hint at this in the book of Jude. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out of their own shame. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Why are these wandering stars or these wandering angels so shameful? Probably because they disobeyed him. If y'all want—
Now I found this theory extremely interesting, and I'll tell you exactly why. While I personally believe the old pagan gods are the fallen angels, I didn't really look at the planets that way. But considering it is documented that the ancient Greeks worshipped the visible planets in the sky as gods, this makes a ton of sense. The Greeks named each planet after their gods, associating each planet with their god. Now, looking at the Bible, it does state that God cast the fallen angels to chains of darkness to await the final judgment. Space is darkness, and the chains could be what they call the planet's orbit, the invisible chains that keep the angels in orbit around the sun. Now, I'm not saying this theory is true, but I am saying that it is interesting and kind of makes sense. What do you guys think about this theory? I'm gonna mark this one as unconclusive for now, and maybe I'll do some more research on it later. That's all the theories I have for you guys today. If you guys like this type of video and want to see me give my thoughts on other TikTok theories, let me know in the comment section. If you guys have some theories for me to talk about, comment them below, or better yet, send them to me on Instagram. That's it for this video, but before you guys go, I would like to politely ask you to subscribe if you're not. Please like, comment, and share this video so we can get it seen by everyone who needs to see it. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
After he made one of the biggest shots in NBA history, the next 7 years of Kyrie Irving's career were a total fiasco. Since the 2016 championship, Kyrie remained a phenomenal player, a dribbling wizard who averaged 26 points per game and made 5 All-Star teams. But he nearly threw it all away. Irving's off-court actions made people forget that he's a basketball savant, and any news about Kyrie seemed to be negative due to his constant wars with the media, suspensions from the NBA, and falling out with his teammates.
And it hurts me sometimes when we have to sit up here to talk about stuff that divides the game. Now we got to answer for what this idiot has done.
It was unbelievable that one player could produce so much drama and force his way out of 3 different franchises.
You had Cleveland to exit. You had Boston, which was a mess. You had Brooklyn, which was a mess.
When Kyrie left Brooklyn, he was considered a locker room cancer, a ticking time bomb that could explode at any given moment. But then he landed in Dallas, and things started to change. In the 23-24 season, Kyrie embraced his role as a leader on a young Mavs team. He was saying all the right things, and most importantly, he stayed on the court, nearly winning another NBA championship. This is the rise, the fall, and the rise again of Kyrie Irving, and how the most unorthodox player in the modern NBA went from a team killer and PR disaster to a well-respected NBA superstar. And before he started believing that the earth was flat, Kyrie was always a basketball prodigy. Both his parents are former basketball players, and Kai started dribbling a ball as soon as he could walk. Kyrie was so obsessed with basketball that he dribbled and shot all the time, writing on his wall that he'd become an NBA player one day.
In high school, well, I played all the time. Winter, fall, summer, spring.
But there was one big problem: his size. As a freshman in high school, Kai was only 5'7" and super skinny. As a sophomore, he reached 5'10". But despite averaging 29 points per game, nobody knew about him because he played in the lowest division in New Jersey. As a senior, Kyrie reached his current height of 6'2", and with the increase in size, he became unstoppable. By this time, everybody knew who he was. Irving was named High School All-American, co-MVP of the Jordan Brand Classic Tournament, and was unanimously ranked as a top 5 high school player in the country. Kyrie was wanted by every major university, but he accepted the scholarship from Duke. And in his first 8 games for the Blue Devils, Irving was a strong candidate for NCAA Freshman of the Year, averaging 17 points and 5 assists per game, while shooting an insane 54% from the field, 45% for 3, and 90% from the free throw line. Unfortunately, he suffered a foot injury that sidelined him until March Madness, where he helped the Blue Devils reach the Sweet 16. And even though Duke lost to Arizona, Kyrie was by far the best player on the court, and easily the most talented player in college basketball. At the 2011 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers had an easy choice, selecting Kyrie with the first overall pick. And immediately after the draft, Irving reached out to a famous trainer, Micah Lancaster, who pushed his ball handling into a new stratosphere. Lancaster made Kyrie keep his dribble so tight that he could swat away opponents' hands like flies while he was handling the basketball. They also worked on his footwork and balance, and all that hard work paid off.
But Kyrie's one of the only people he'll let you play. He'd rather play defense on offense. He starts his point of attack and he lets you dictate how this is gonna go.
Yep. Kyrie immediately made his mark in the NBA. He was just 3 votes shy of becoming a unanimous Rookie of the Year. In the next 2 seasons, he made the All-Star team each year. He became the All-Star Game MVP, as well as the MVP of the 2014 FIBA World Cup. His ball handling made him a superstar, and his victims ranged from Brandon Knight to Kobe Bryant and the entire USA Olympic team. But despite all the individual success, one thing was missing. The Cleveland Cavaliers were a mess, and Irving wasn't even close to sniffing the playoffs. But then, it all changed because of one man, LeBron James. In his first season back in Cleveland, LeBron led the Cavs to the NBA Finals. But due to injuries to both Kevin Love and Kyrie, the Cavs lacked the firepower to fend off the Golden State Warriors. In the 2016 season, Irving struggled with minor injuries throughout the regular season, which hampered his stats. But when the playoffs rolled around, Kyrie was finally healthy, which allowed him to showcase the full splendor of his talent. The Cavs lost just 2 games on their way to another NBA Finals, and Kai averaged 25 points on 48% shooting and 46% for 3. But then, in the NBA Finals against the 73-9 Warriors, the Cavaliers were losing 3-1, a deficit no team had ever recovered from. Cleveland's dreams of winning the title seemed doomed, and they needed a miracle to survive. And that miracle was provided by LeBron and Kyrie, who played the best game of his career. Both Cavs scored 41 points, but it was Irving who hit all the toughest shots, with a mesmerizing array of layups and off-balance jumpers over multiple defenders. Irving made 17 out of the 24 shots he took, including 5 for 7 from 3, and was a game-high plus 20 in his 40 minutes on the court. The Cavs then took Game 6 at home, but then they had to win Game 7 on the road. The championship game was incredibly tight, and for virtually forever the score was tied at 89-89. And then it happened.
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
The Cavs won their first title in franchise history, and the first for Cleveland after a 52-year drought.
I've never seen 2 guys play at that level
for 3 straight
games. It's the
games.
craziest thing I've ever seen. Like Bron and Kyrie were just on. And we play well. They just play better.
But then the Warriors added Kevin Durant, which was the ultimate basketball cheat code. And while the Cavs managed to get to the 2017 Finals basically unchallenged, they couldn't match up with the Bay Area juggernaut. Kyrie was phenomenal throughout the playoffs, especially in the finals, averaging 29 points on 47% shooting and 42% from deep. But Cleveland lost in 5 games, and that's when the first signs of trouble creeped in. Irving was tired of being considered a Robin to LeBron's Batman. Kai wanted his own team, where he was the guy.
You know, when he first came back, I was 22, 23, so I was just a young kid trying to help Cleveland patch up their relationship with him. I got drafted the year after, so when I came in, it was like, are you gonna be better than LeBron? That was my first question when I got into Cleveland. So it was mixed emotions the whole time that we were competitors, and then when he came back as my teammate, you know what I mean? Came back to Cleveland, that's his home.
So, without any warning or consultation with LeBron, he requested a trade from the Cavs. Cleveland didn't have to trade him since he had 2 years left on his deal, and in retrospect, they shouldn't have traded him. But like many other sports teams, they didn't want to deal with a disgruntled star.
I asked for a trade because I was looking for something different. I was a man of my word. When I went to the organization, I sat the higher ups down and said, look, I know y'all have future plans. Tell me right now. They told me their future plans. I said, look, this isn't for me.
And 1 month after his trade request went public, Kyrie became a member of the Boston Celtics in a lopsided trade that brought back an injured Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder. Well, this whole process was weird because nobody ever wanted to leave a team that made 3 straight NBA Finals. What was even weirder was Kyrie's media appearances. While he was still a member of the Cavaliers, Kyrie broke out the infamous take that he believed the Earth was flat.
But on that podcast, I was just really like, man, what's going on within our world, and just a whole bunch of truth and conspiracy. I was just like, whoa, this is too much for me. And then I come out and say that, and then, the reaction it got.
In September 2017, Kyrie appeared on a radio show where he doubled down on his flat Earth stance. claiming the whole thing was part of a social experiment he was conducting.
When I started doing research on my own and figuring out that there is no real picture of Earth, like there's not one picture of Earth.
Kyrie later backed down from his comments, but that was far from the end of his controversies.
I told him he's trolling us. I don't know. I don't get it.
After an injury sidelined him from the playoffs, Irving was forced to watch his team get beat by LeBron and the Cavs in the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals. And before the next season started, Kyrie seemed happy and confident that he could win in Boston, famously proclaiming that he intends to re-sign with the Celtics in the upcoming year.
You guys will have me back. I plan on re-signing here next year.
But then, it all went sideways. Following an early season loss to the Knicks, a reporter wished him happy Thanksgiving. Kyrie clapped back and said, "F Thanksgiving." Because he's part Native American on his mother's side, it's understandable why Kyrie might not be a big fan of Thanksgiving. However, his delivery of that message was far from perfect, and he later apologized on Twitter. Then, in January of 2019, Irving threw his teammates under the bus, saying that the young guys on the team don't understand what it takes to win a championship.
But Kyrie Irving, as the leader he wants to be, must figure it out, and this is not the way to do it.
A few days later, Kyrie admitted to the media that he actually called LeBron James, apologizing for his immature attitude when they played together in Cleveland, and seeking advice about his leadership struggles in Boston.
I had to call Bron, and tell him, I apologize for being that young player that wanted to everything at his fingertips, and I wanted everything to be at, my threshold. I wanted to be the guy that led us to championship. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be all that, and the responsibility of being the best player in the world and leading a team is something that's not meant for many people.
By doing so, Irving essentially bashed his teammates again, and then admitted he made a mistake coming to Boston in the first place.
That was a step for me just to move forward in my life. It takes a very, very strong individual to, replay a lot of the experiences that you've had, a lot of anger that you had built up, that where you didn't address the situation and you allowed it to fester, and then it was just combustion. Then you realize, man, I didn't have to deal with that the same way I dealt with that. I didn't have to go about it that same way.
A few weeks later, when the media asked him about his upcoming free agency and his proclaimed intent to re-sign with the Celtics, Kyrie simply said that he doesn't know anybody's shit. They should ask him about that on July 1st, and that he'll do what's best for him and his family.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna do what I feel is best for my career, and I don't owe anybody.
And despite Kyrie playing to his usual standards and making the All-NBA second team, it was clear that the team chemistry was seriously derailed. During the second round of the playoffs against the Bucks, Irving played the worst playoff series of his career, after which he delivered another disastrous press conference. After reporters asked him about his shooting struggles following a Game 4 loss, Kyrie responded in the worst possible way.
Yeah, who cares?
He then capped off this fiasco by saying that he should have taken 30 shots instead of 22 because he's that great of a shooter.
The expectations on me are going to be sky high. For me, the 22 shots, I should have shot 30.
In the deciding Game 5, the Celtics lost by 25, which surprised nobody. Kyrie shot 6 for 21 from the field in the game and was arguably the worst player on the floor. He finished the series shooting just 35% from the field and an abysmal 22% from 3. After this series, and all the comments he made during the year, the Celtics were happy to see him go in free agency. In just 2 years, Irving managed to piss off and ruin the plans for 2 different franchises. And his next move was something that all NBA fans saw coming for months. At the 2019 All-Star Game, while still a member of the Celtics, Kyrie was seen talking extensively to Kevin Durant, and the whole world suspected they were in cahoots to plan their free agency together. And what the world suspected, Kyrie confirmed in July of 2019, signing a deal with the Brooklyn Nets together with Durant. In his first game for the Nets, Kyrie scored 50 points, becoming the first player in NBA history to score 50 in a team debut. Despite averaging a career-high 27.4 points per game, a shoulder injury forced him to miss all but 20 games of the season. In the offseason, both Kai and KD got healthy, and they got together on a podcast where Irving made headlines once again, and not in a good way.
We don't really need a coach. Tell me a player in the history of sports that never needed coaching. That might be one of the most ignorant things I've ever heard a player say.
When the 2021 season started, the Nets fans finally saw the long-awaited debut of Kevin Durant, who had been nursing an Achilles injury he suffered in the 2019 NBA Finals. To make things even better, Brooklyn also traded for James Harden early in the season, and the trio of KD, Harden, and Kyrie promised to be the most unstoppable offense ever. With so much talent on the floor, defenses were forced to pick their poison, and at all times, one of the three best scorers in basketball was open. However, injuries to all three stars limited their time on the court, and the superstar trio played just 8 games together in the regular season. On top of their injury troubles, Kyrie was still at war with the media, calling them pawns on social media. But for the first round of the playoffs against the Celtics, all three Nets All-Stars were healthy, unleashing the full wrath of their offensive talent. Brooklyn won that series in 5 games, scoring an average of 124 points, with an insane 130 offensive rating, easily the best rating in a single playoff series. Kyrie, KD, and Harden averaged 85 points per game, shooting a combined 53% from the field, 45% from 3, and 92% from the free throw line. To rub in the Nets' victory, Irving stomped on the Celtics logo, which wasn't appreciated by the Boston fans. However, in the second round against the Bucks, both Kyrie and Harden got hurt. Still, if KD's toe didn't step on the line during the potential game winner, this story might have been different. But it did, and the Bucks won the series in overtime of Game 7. And despite the disappointment, everybody believed the Nets super team would win the title in the upcoming years if they managed to stay healthy.
We didn't think we could beat the Nets at full power. That was a team that we thought we might not be able to get past for 3 or 4 years.
But that's when the real fun began, and the Kyrie factor came into play. The world didn't know it yet, but Harden, KD, and Irving would only play one more game together for Brooklyn. Before the start of the 2022 NBA season, 99% of all NBA players participated in the mandatory vaccination to combat the pandemic. Only 3 players refused: Michael Porter Jr., Jonathan Isaac, and Kyrie Irving. Porter and Isaac were out for the season due to injuries. However, Kyrie was perfectly healthy, but due to his stance, he was unable to play in all home games because of New York City's vaccine mandate. This led to the Nets GM Sean Marks removing Kyrie from all team games and practices, resulting in Kyrie missing the first 2 months of the season.
I was not expecting a mandate to be brought down in a way that it wasn't going to allow me to play at all. I had the opportunity to play away games still, but there was no plan in place. There was no vision of like how it's going to work for our team, and I think that really impacted not just me, but a lot of people. So just had to sit in that hot seat for a little bit and deal with it, man. Life of a martyr, bro.
However, in late December, despite remaining unvaccinated, the Nets announced that Irving would return to the team and play in away games, in a decision largely influenced by the various injuries to Brooklyn's roster. On January 12th, the Nets' super team trio of Durant, Harden, and Irving finally all suited up in an NBA game again, reminding the world of how potent their offense could be with all 3 superstars. The Nets demolished the Bulls 138-112, and for a moment, their hopes of winning a title looked great again. But it would be the last game they ever played in the same uniform. Kyrie missed the next 2 games because the Nets played at home, after which KD got injured and was ruled out for 6 weeks. And that was the final straw for James Harden, who was getting fed up with Kyrie and the uncertainty he brought to the team. So the Beard asked for a trade, seeking a more stable situation. And during the February trade deadline, Harden got his wish, getting traded to Philadelphia for Ben Simmons and Seth Curry. Overall, the Nets' Big Three played just 16 games together, with a record of 13-3. However, just a few days before the Harden trade, New York Mayor Eric Adams announced that New York City was lifting its vaccine mandate for municipal workers, meaning that Kyrie would be able to finally play in all games. However, the damage to team chemistry had already been done, and Harden still insisted on getting traded. And just 3 days after Adams announced the news, the Beard was gone, and the Nets received 20 cents on the dollar.
Playoffs right around the corner, so we got to fast track into getting used to each other. But I'm excited. I think everybody got what they wanted.
And because Ben Simmons didn't even play a single minute for the team, which was another drama in its own right, the Nets' defense was atrocious, and Brooklyn's offense wasn't as potent without a third superstar. Somehow the Nets made the playoffs, but in the first round against the Celtics, Brooklyn got swept, and their title window closed faster than anyone could have predicted. In Game 1 of that series, Irving flipped off a fan, adding fuel to the fire of hate he was already getting in Boston, plus a $50,000 fine he received from the NBA.
Well, we've never seen that from you this season, where you are running down the floor flicking people off.
It's the first time you actually caught it because it's a big-time game. I respond in different ways. So if somebody's going to call me out of my name, I'm going to look at them straight in the eye and see if they really about it. Most of the time, they're not.
A 4-0 loss was a slap in the face and a big wake-up call for the team everybody believed was going to win the championship. However, that wasn't the end of all the chaos. In the offseason, Kevin Durant, who was clearly tired from all the Kyrie and Ben Simmons drama, asked for a trade, even though he still had 4 years left on his contract. Durant then went a step further and demanded that the team either fire Steve Nash and GM Sean Marks or let him go. It was arguably the most aggressive trade demand by any player in NBA history. Thankfully, owner Joe Tsai held his ground, refused KD's ultimatum, and didn't succumb to the pressure to trade him. Against all odds, both Kyrie and KD started the 2023 season for the Nets, and they were joined by Ben Simmons, who finally made his debut for the team. But when the season started, the Nets were an abomination. Simmons looked like a shell of his former self, the Nets had zero on-ball defense, and their offense relied on KD and Kyrie isolations. With a defense that couldn't stop some college teams and a barely average offense, the Nets lost 6 out of their first 8 games. Both Kyrie and KD clashed with coach Steve Nash, after which Nash got fired. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no. The Nets' on-court problems were just a minor thing compared to the shit show they produced off the floor, with the main protagonist being Kyrie Irving, of course. Kyrie tweeted an anti-Semitic message after a documentary he watched, and while the league and the Nets gave him a chance to apologize, he failed to do so.
Can you please stop calling it a promotion? What am I promoting?
Put it out on your platform.
But I'm promoting it? Do you see me in front of
putting
the,
it out there,
the
people
title?
are going to say that you are
Yeah, I put
promoting.
it out there just like you put things out there, right?
Finally, the Nets suspended him for 8 games, and the whole world was left wondering, what is wrong with Kyrie Irving?
If you take Kyrie Irving's brain and you put it inside of a bird, the bird is going to start to fly backwards.
When Irving finally returned, Ben Simmons and other role players caught some steam, and against all odds, Brooklyn started winning games. At the midpoint of the season, they had a 27-14 record, the second best record in the Eastern Conference. By then, Kyrie wanted to secure a contract extension with the team. Considering all the BS he had pulled in the last 5 years, Irving was viewed as a ticking time bomb who could explode at any moment.
They're not winning anything with him in Brooklyn. And I think in Brooklyn, they're starting to understand that.
And without any surprise, the Nets declined to give Kyrie the max extension he wanted. But because they didn't want to lose him for nothing in the summer, Brooklyn made a logical move and decided to cash in on his talent while they still could. So the Nets traded him to Dallas in exchange for Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, an unprotected 2029 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. Soon after, Brooklyn also traded Durant to Phoenix. And just like that, the third super team that Kyrie was on collapsed in record time. The whole world believed that Dallas made a big mistake in trading for Irving and giving him a 3-year, $126 million extension, especially after Irving and Doncic failed to even make the postseason in 2023.
The Dallas Mavericks are an absolute mess. Let's say what it is.
But then, in the 2024 season, everything changed. Irving remained healthy for the majority of the year, and he was one of just 11 NBA players who averaged 25, 5, and 5 for the season, with traditionally high shooting percentages. Kyrie was just 0.3% shy of a 50-40-90 season, shooting 49.7% from the field, 41.1% from 3, and 90.5% from the free throw line. His alley-oop dunk versus the Nets and a crazy left-handed game winner against the Nuggets were the biggest highlights of Dallas' season.
Looking in for Irving. Irving for the win! A southpaw finish from Kyrie!
But even more importantly, Kyrie wasn't a PR nightmare anymore.
It starts with me as one of the leaders on the team. I got to be better, make sure that staying communicative. This was a learning lesson for sure, but I'm proud of all our guys. We all stepped up at the right time, and we gutted out this win.
He said all the right things in the media. He became a leader on and off the court. And it was clear that he established great chemistry with all his teammates and coaches. And this all showed in the end result. Kyrie and Luka led the Mavs past the Clippers, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves to reach the NBA Finals, which was the first time since 2011 that one team defeated 3 50-win teams to reach the championship series. With many big shots in the playoffs and flawless behavior off the court, this was Kyrie's redemption season. And even though he and Dallas failed to win the 2024 championship against a stacked Celtics team, nobody was saying anything bad about Irving. After a turbulent 6-year span where he burned 3 different franchises, Kai is finally back to doing what he does best, being a basketball wizard. Thanks for watching Nonstop. And if you like this one, we have another video for you right here. We all know about Shaq's beef with Kobe, Isaiah Thomas hating Michael Jordan, and Bird's feud with Bill Laimbeer. But what about beef in the modern NBA? There have been plenty of confrontations in the last decade, and in this video, we'll go over the craziest beefs in recent memory.
NBA superstar Kevin Durant stunned the sports world yesterday after announcing that he's going to be leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder to join the Golden State Warriors.
It was 2016 when Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City for a team that just defeated him in the playoffs, and he didn't say anything to his partner in crime, Russell Westbrook. Russ felt betrayed, which inspired him to make a commercial about it.
Some run, some make runways.
But if Russ hated Durant, the entirety of Oklahoma City hated him even more. And when Durant first came back wearing a different jersey, the hostility was palpable. Every time KD touched the ball, people booed. And there were hundreds of insulting banners, most notably calling Durant a snake and a cupcake. And when Russ and KD got into an argument in the middle of the floor, the roof in the arena nearly exploded. And then, just a few months later, Westbrook and Durant were teammates again, both representing the Western All-Stars. Durant was even trying to make amends, but Westbrook refused to give him any attention. During the game, Russ and KD finally connected for an alley-oop, which caused a sigh of relief for their teammates and the whole arena. But this brief moment of happiness was short-lived.
That's all that happened. You just do it loud. It's basketball. Yeah. That's it.
In their second matchup that season, when Enes Kanter went to speak with Durant, Russ went berserk.
The official's going to have to step in sooner or later as these former star teammates jawing at each other.
However, over the years, this beef cooled off, and Durant and Westbrook are back to being friends. But that's not something we can say about James Harden and Daryl Morey. For the past decade, the marriage between the Beard and his general manager seemed perfect. But in the end, the divorce resembled Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's. See, back in 2012, Morey was the one who insisted on bringing Harden to Houston. He set up the entire roster around his favorite player and his silky skill set, greatly popularizing the three-point revolution we're seeing today. Harden had all the benefits that a superstar can get. He was the sheriff, the mayor, the president, everything.
I love this city. I literally have done everything that I can. I mean, this situation is crazy. You know, it's something that I don't think can be fixed, so.
But when the ring eluded the Rockets, the Beard fled to Brooklyn. And when it didn't work out there, Daryl Morey grabbed him and reunited with James. After his first season in Philadelphia, Harden took approximately $14 million less than what he was supposed to get with a player option, so the team could sign veteran forward P.J. Tucker. From the outside, it looked like a noble move from Harden. But don't be fooled. James and Morey had an agreement in principle that would sign Harden for a maximum deal in the next offseason, worth over $200 million. But a lot can happen in a year. After the Sixers suffered an embarrassing loss to the Celtics in the 2023 playoffs, with Harden playing poorly in clutch moments of the series, many people wondered if Harden still deserved a max deal. And those same questions were bothering Morey, who had two options. He would either stay loyal to Harden and honor his word, or he'd do his job and stay responsible for the long-term benefit of the 76ers, who would potentially be stuck with a bad contract and very little flexibility. In the end, Morey did his job and screwed Harden over, not offering him an extension. Of course, Harden was disappointed and angry, asking for a trade. But as the trade options were very slim, James had to show up for the Sixers training camp, where he expressed his absolute disgust for the GM.
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of.
It appears James Harden has gotten his wish.
Sources told ESPN overnight the Sixers agreed to a complicated deal, sending Harden to the LA Clippers.
Ultimately, his wish was granted, and he got traded to the Clippers. But it's safe to say that he'll never earn $200 million from an NBA contract again.
Next question.
However, this is not the only notable Harden beef. Before his dispute with Morey, he hated somebody else, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Back in 2018, these two were in the middle of a fierce battle for MVP. Giannis had played one of the most versatile seasons in NBA history, averaging 28, 12, and 6, with over a steal and a block per game, and shot 58% from the field. On the other hand, there was Harden, who had arguably the best scoring season ever, apart from a couple of guys named Wilt and Michael. The Beard averaged 36 points, 6 rebounds, and 7.5 assists, including a streak of 32 games with 30 points or more. However, the MVP went to Giannis, and naturally Harden was disappointed, making several comments about the injustice he suffered. But the actual beef started the next season, with a little help from Charles Barkley.
I'm between Kemba and Trae Young.
Well, you
But I gotta go.
You don't want the dribbler?
I want somebody that's gonna pass the ball. That's what I want.
Giannis Antetokounmpo makes a joke on the air about, I want to take someone who can pass. I'm taking Kemba Walker instead of James Harden.
I average more assists than him, I think. I don't see what the joke is, but I didn't even see it. You know, I don't pay attention to stuff like that. I just know none of them can mess with me.
But while this was lighthearted banter, Antetokounmpo took it up a notch when he played against the Rockets.
Offensively, we were just trying to, find whoever James Harden was guarding. That's who we thought we're going to have an opportunity to score on.
Now it became personal, and Harden had to give a rebuttal.
But I wish I could just run and with 7 feet and run and just dunk. Like, that takes no skill at all. I got to actually learn how to play basketball and how to have skill, I take that any day.
Another pair of current All-Stars had a very fun beef. And thankfully, this one happened on the court and not just through the media. In the 2022 playoffs, the Phoenix Suns took a 2-0 lead against the Mavericks. And when the reporters asked about Luka's defense and targeting him in the pick and roll, Devin Booker and Chris Paul looked at each other and laughed. But Luka soon proved that mocking him wasn't such a good idea, as Dallas won the next 2 games and tied the series. But the Suns didn't learn, and they had to do it again. In Game 5 of the series, the Suns were winning the game when Devin Booker drove to the basket and got fouled, after which he rolled all over the floor and mockingly named this move. After the game, as he was walking out of the tunnel, Luka shouted out Michael Jordan's famous phrase. And Luka was always the one to back up his trash talk. The Mavs won Game 6 in a blowout, but it was only a teaser to an incoming storm. For Game 7 in Phoenix, where the Suns had won every game of the series, they suddenly couldn't buy a bucket. The Suns ended the first half with a 30-point deficit, and Luka scored as many points as the entire Suns team. Before the end of the third quarter, Phoenix was down by 46 points.
Jason Kidd, Luka, and Spencer Dinwiddie has sucked all the energy out of this building.
It was the biggest embarrassment the NBA has ever seen in a Game 7, and Booker had to eat a big slice of humble pie.
What's the relationship like right now with Devin Booker? It's good.
However, that wasn't the end. On March 5th, 2023, the rivalry was reignited as Booker and Doncic got face-to-face once more. After Luka missed the potential game-tying layup late in the game, Booker started to trash-talk Luka, and teammates had to separate them from fighting.
It's fine. It's just a competitive game, man. It's all good. Just next time, don't wait till it's 3 seconds left to top.
And if there's anyone in the NBA who talks for the entire game, Dillon Brooks is definitely one of those players, and one of the biggest NBA villains. A guy who gets in people's faces, trash talks, and taunts. But back in 2021, he was the one getting taunted by none other than LeBron James. After he made several clutch shots over Brooks, the King gave him a too small gesture, and the Canadian swingman never forgot it. 2 years later, after a game where he and several of his teammates nearly got into a fight with Shannon Sharpe, Brooks was in a revengeful mood, bragging about guarding LeBron. He doesn't want to go left. I was just making him go left all game. Then he would settle or he would pass the ball. But this was just a prelude of more beef to come. As the 7th-seeded Lakers advanced through the play-in to play the Grizzlies, Brooks was brimming with confidence. I don't mind playing LeBron in a 7-game series and knocking him out right away. And after a great performance in Game 2, where he bothered LeBron all night and helped the Grizzlies win, Brooks was again feeling himself.
I don't care, he's old. I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40. He's LeBron James. But, when I'm on that floor, you're just another player to me. I don't care who you are.
Brooks said with a deadpan stare. But he didn't stop there.
He's not at the same level as he was when he was on Cleveland, when he won championships, Miami.
As usual, James didn't make a comment, but instead, he made a fool out of Brooks on the floor, who got ejected after a flagrant 2 on LeBron, after which he declined to speak to the media. And in Game 4, James made several clutch baskets over Brooks, again proving that he's the last player you should trash talk to. And Dillon again refused to talk to the press. But the biggest slap in Brooks' face came in Game 6, which the Lakers won by 40 points, sending Brooks and the Grizzlies home. And after Brooks got the 40-piece he was wishing for, LeBron added insult to injury with a funny Instagram post. So it's probably better not to mess with LeBron, which Draymond Green found out the hard way. Since he entered the NBA, Draymond has had beef with more than a dozen players. Early in his career, it was Blake Griffin and Chris Paul. But his latest and current ongoing feud is with Rudy Gobert. Early in the 2024 season, Dre got ejected for choking Gobert, after which he also received a 5-game suspension from the NBA. Draymond is now a part-time NBA player and a part-time president of the Rudy Gobert Hate Club, as Green takes every single opportunity to bash Gobert on Inside the NBA.
Big Frenchman is sitting on that podium speaking his native language. We need to do this. You need to get a stop. Rudy Gobert is getting cooked.
And he celebrated when Doncic scored the game winner over Gobert in the conference finals and trash-talked his defense against the Joker the series before.
Rudy sucks, not me. What I do?
Again?
I didn't do anything. What's you going at me for? You did it to them, not me.
You know,
I can't guard. I mean, nobody can guard Jokic, but
I disagree.
no.
I disagree.
Maybe Draymond needs a reminder that Jokic gave him 31 points per game on 57% shooting when he guarded him in the playoffs. And it wouldn't be surprising if Gobert got into it with Green in the future. But there's another European center that had beef with Draymond's good friend, LeBron James. Enes Kanter got into it with LeBron on several instances when the Turk was a member of the Knicks. Kanter didn't like James's comments on rookie Frank Ntilikina, suggesting that New York should have drafted Dennis Smith Jr. instead. And when they faced off later that season, it was exactly Ntilikina, Kanter, and Bron who ended up in an on-court scuffle. After LeBron's Cavaliers won that game, LeBron taunted Kanter on Instagram, saying that he was the king of New York.
Well, I'm the king, my wife is the queen, and my daughter is the princess, so we got all 3 covered.
Later that season, when LeBron got ejected for the first time in his career against the Heat, Kanter immediately trolled James with his famous hashtag, #Strive for Greatness. He later repeated this tweet several times whenever James had a bad game. But that wasn't the end of it. When LeBron failed to provide comments on Daryl Morey and the subsequent NBA ban from all Chinese media platforms, that didn't sit well with Kanter. Enes tweeted money over freedom, criticizing James and his lack of involvement in social issues, something Kanter has been very vocal about, especially involving the problems in his own country.
If you want to have a real conversation, you know where I live, you know what city I'm in, just come here and we can have a conversation.
Sure, I'd love to sit down and talk to him. I'm sure it's going to be a very uncomfortable conversation for him. I don't know if he's educated enough, but I'm here to educate him. And I'm here to help him because it's not about money. It's about morals, principles, and values. It's about what you stand for. And we can't talk about NBA beef without mentioning Patrick Beverley, who had feuds with seemingly everyone in the NBA. Pat's first notable beef was with Russell Westbrook, who suffered a season-ending knee injury in the first round of the 2013 playoffs, when Beverley collided with him in an attempt to steal the ball. After this, they never saw eye to eye and got into multiple scuffles and shouting matches on the floor, and it lasted for years. In 2019, Westbrook mocked Beverley and his defensive reputation.
That Bev trick y'all, man, like you play defense. He don't guard nobody, man, just running around doing nothing. Oh, yeah, he was talking about he was first team all defense, but I didn't know what the hell he was talking about because I had 42 at the time. I don't know what he talking about. Maybe he was dreaming of some I don't know.
But now it shocked me because he said he looked up and said, no one can guard me. I got 40 points. I'm like, that's nice. He took 34 shots to get it.
But Pat Bev didn't rest there, and he feuded with other all-star players at his position, namely Chris Paul and Damian Lillard.
People don't understand. Me and Chris, what we have has been going on since I was in high school. You push him, whoa. You know Chris, man.
Pat hated CP3 for years, ever since he was in high school, and that energy spilled over to the NBA, most notably when he made a guest appearance on ESPN.
Man, ain't nobody worried about Chris Paul when we play Phoenix Suns. Nobody in the NBA.
With Lillard, the beef started in the 2020 NBA bubble, when Beverley clapped over two of Lillard's missed free throws. He also mocked Lillard's Dame Time celebration, and Lillard responded on social media, calling him a con man, like Flip from above the rim. And Tyrese Halliburton shared the same feelings towards Beverly. In the middle of the 2024 Bucks-Pacers series, Beverly severely downplayed Halliburton's playmaking skills.
What have you seen trying to defend Halliburton in this series?
Check the numbers. I think he's shooting 19% from the three.
Hallie waited to respond, and once the Pacers took care of business and defeated Beverly's Bucks, he copy-pasted Lillard's con man tweet. But Pat Bev didn't rest there, and also has feuds with Austin Reeves, JJ Redick, and lately, even with a reporter who didn't subscribe to his podcast.
I'm sorry. Before I finish. You subscribe to my pod?
Do I subscribe to you? I do not.
So you can't interview me then. No
Okay,
disrespect.
Well, Jamal is here.
You subscribe? Okay, cool. That's cool.
And while we're talking about sensitive people, we can't forget about Mr. Sensitive himself, Dr. Shaquille O'Neal. Even in retirement, Shaq can't stand people who stand up to him without immediately mentioning his 4 rings and other accomplishments. The newest member of the Shaq Beef Club is Shannon Sharp, but the most notable example has to be JaVale McGee.
Just for old time's sake, can you say his name one time?
JaVale McGee!
After he repeatedly mocked him on Inside the NBA and his Shaq'd in a Fool segment, McGee responded that he's negatively impacting his career. O'Neal then responded by calling him a bum ass, and McGee replied that Shaq was an old bastard. It got way uglier after that, with Kevin Durant stepping in to defend McGee, and it ultimately ended when Shaq's mother asked him to stop the foolishness and quit feuding with JaVale.
It didn't get out of hand, but my mother is someone who I love and respect, and she told me to stop it and don't bring it up again, so I'm not going to talk about it ever again. His name won't ever come out of my mouth ever again.
Of course, Shaq's most famous beef was with Kobe, who also had plenty of disagreements with other players over the years. Other than Shaq and Smush Parker, a teammate he disliked most was Dwight Howard, who never played or behaved up to Kobe's standards. So when he chose to sign with the Rockets in free agency, fireworks were almost guaranteed when they matched up, and Kobe didn't disappoint. After a hard foul from Dwight, Brian exchanged a few choice words with his former center, daring him to do something and calling Howard soft. A very similar beef happened with Jimmy Butler, who didn't like the intensity of his teammates when he was in Minnesota. After he led the young Timberwolves to their first playoff berth in 14 years in 2018, Jimmy grew unhappy with Cat and especially Andrew Wiggins. Their professionalism and playing style rubbed Butler the wrong way, and he wasn't quiet about it. Butler called Towns and Wiggins soft and constantly trash-talked them, highlighted by the infamous practice when Jimmy defeated Cat and Wiggins with a bunch of bench players.
You were loud, emotional, passionate, we like to say, targeting Coach Tom Thibodeau, teammates like Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, that you told GM Scott Layton, "You effing need me." How would you describe what happened today?
A lot of it's true.
The beef ultimately resulted in Butler's trade to the 76ers. But after he was gone, Jimmy kept talking trash to Wiggins and his brother on social media, forming a now famous phrase, "keep that same energy." And Butler's most recent feud came at the expense of TJ Warren, which started in the 2020 playoffs. The pair got tangled up during the game, exchanged some heated words, after which Warren got ejected, and Jimmy blew him a kiss as he walked off the court. The tension between the pair spilled over into the post-game press conferences, with Butler not mincing his words about his opponent.
He's not even in my fucking league, like nowhere near me. And if I was their coach, I would never put him on me ever again. He's like, no, put somebody else on me, because I'm a Taz every time we play. He's trash.
But unlike most of the players on this list who traded barbs on the floor, another recent beef mostly happened through social media, and it was between former teammates. Kyle Kuzma and Spencer Dinwiddie briefly shared a locker room with the Washington Wizards during the 2021-22 season. However, after half a season, Dinwiddie got traded to the Mavericks, and he wasted no time to talk smack about his former teammate. After a game against Washington, which the Wizards won after a 30-point night from Kuzma, Dinwiddie played down Kuz's big night.
They're not playing for nothing for real. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, for them, it's a showcase. They over there trying to get paid. They're not trying to play winning basketball.
Naturally, Kuzma was not a fan of what Dinwiddie said, so he replied on Twitter. The funny thing is, they don't play winning basketball. Kuzma wrote because the Mavs were also out of the playoff picture. But Dinwiddie didn't stop there, throwing shade at Kuzma's focus and work ethic.
I think if we look at, you know, him and the way he approaches life, fame, all that stuff, that we could see that you know, his priorities tend to vary, right? Like, that's why he dresses the way he does. He, you know, approaches basketball the way he does. But in DC, if you got 3 max dudes, Porzingis, Brad, and Kuz, like, how you miss the playoff? Like, none of these things make sense. You know what I'm saying? Unless your priorities aren't in order.
Of course, Kuz was quick to talk back. The Wizards and I have so much real estate on Din Shitty Island. This guy got signed by a team for over $60 million and was traded before the following season was over. What in the world have you won in this league? LOL, you've been bounced around like a basketball, my boy. And last but not least, we have another beef that had nothing to do with basketball. When D'Angelo Russell played with Nick Young on the Lakers, Russell tried to prank Young by recording him when he talked about his romantic exploits, including cheating on his fiancée, Iggy Azalea.
I'm glad you told my video all that.
Not thinking about the consequences and foolishly believing it would all be one big ha-ha, Russell posted the video online, seriously breaching the locker room code and effectively ending Young's relationship with his fiancée.
You thought you had good ones. Then you got snitched on. You find out that Russell snitched. God Russell!
Of course, that didn't sit too well with Swaggy P or any of his teammates. The NBA is one big brotherhood, and this was a severe breach of trust. D'Angelo was outcast by Young and the rest of the NBA, and it took a while to get respect back from the league. Thank you for watching Nonstop. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and watch some more of our content. For 2 decades, it was universally accepted that the 1996 Bulls were the greatest NBA team of all time. But then the 2017 Warriors entered the chat. A team that had just won 73 games added Kevin Durant. With 2 league MVPs, a Defensive Player of the Year, and the best two-way shooting guard in the game, the Warriors obliterated every team in the NBA, setting the best playoff record in NBA history. But did Kevin Durant's titles with Golden State certify his place among the top 10 players ever? And are the 2017 Warriors really the best team of all time?
Obviously, we will never know, but you put us on paper with them, I like our chances.
In the last 10 years, it's not difficult to say who was the best organization in the NBA. From the team owner to the cleaning lady, there is no better organized franchise than the Golden State Warriors. In 2023, the Warriors were worth $7.7 billion, twice as much as the average NBA franchise. Other than the Dallas Cowboys, the Warriors are the most valuable sports franchise in the world. And if someone predicted this back in 2010, you'd call them insane. Back then, the Warriors were almost a laughingstock, a fun little squad that rarely made the playoffs, and the 4th best team in California. Until Joe Lacob bought the team for $450 million, and everything changed. Lacob immediately started making big moves, firing legendary coach Don Nelson, trading then Dub's best player and crowd favorite Monte Ellis, and hiring inexperienced Bob Myers as general manager. All 3 moves were extremely unpopular with the Oakland fanbase, but Lacob and Myers soon proved to be 3 steps ahead of everyone else when it came to building a winning team.
If you look up there, that is a very lonely flag. We want another one.
While the new GM did inherit the best shooter of all time, Myers immediately tied Steph to a team-friendly contract. He'd then go on to draft Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, and Draymond Green. In 2014, Myers hired Steve Kerr and brought in impactful vets like Andrew Bogut, Andre Iguodala, and Sean Livingston. In their first season under Coach Kerr, the Warriors ran circles around everybody with hectic pace and unbelievable shooting from their star backcourt, doing what seemed unimaginable just a few years ago, winning the 2015 NBA championship.
Boy, we did it. We did it. We did it at the beginning. So happy for you.
In 2016, the league didn't get the memo on how to catch up with the Warriors, and they set the new NBA record for wins in the regular season, with 73 wins and just 9 losses. However, burdened by chasing the record, the Dubs ran out of steam and were defeated in the 2016 finals. But this loss proved to be a blessing in disguise. Because they weren't crowned champions, and because of an enormous spike in salary cap thanks to a new NBA TV deal, the Warriors were able to sign Kevin Durant, universally recognized as the 2nd best player on the planet. The whole world called KD a coward, a traitor, a snake, a cupcake, and God knows what else.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it.
But the truth was that KD needed the Warriors, and the Warriors needed him. When the 2017 season started, the Warriors were virtually unbeatable, cruising through the season without any problems. KD was incorporated seamlessly into the Warriors' offense, and Kerr didn't have to find weird strategies for their 4 stars to share the ball. KD played the most unselfish basketball of his career because, for the first time ever, he didn't have to score a single point, and his team could still win the game. Golden State won 67 games, with the highest offensive rating in NBA history, second best defense in the league, and the third best net rating in NBA history. It seemed like the Warriors turned on the PlayStation, entered a cheat code, and played the entire season in God mode. They made it through the playoffs without losing a single game, sweeping all 3 of their series in the West. And then, in the finals, a familiar opponent awaited, LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The defending champs had been uber-dominant themselves, losing just 1 playoff game on their road to the finals. But unlike the 2015 and 2016 finals, where LeBron was by far the best player on the court, the Warriors had the perfect antidote to King James, KD. Not only did Durant bring in an offensive dimension to the Warriors that they didn't have before, but he also brought a defensive presence, and his mobility as a near 7-footer made it difficult for James to drive to the basket at will. In the first 2 games, the Warriors obliterated the Cavs. Turnovers created unsolvable problems for Cleveland, as they gave up numerous easy points to the Warriors' insane pace.
Down the lane.
But even when all 5 Cavs managed to get on defense on time, they were murdered with the Durant-Curry pick and roll. The Cavs had a potent offense, but the Dubs' ability to knock down 3-pointers in succession hit Cleveland like an avalanche. In all 77 years of NBA history, there wasn't a team that could switch on the turbo quite like that and increase a 2-point lead to 20-plus in 3 minutes.
Pass all the way across, and Durant throws it down.
However, when the series returned to Cleveland for Game 3, the Cavs looked much better, and their offense kept them in the lead for much of the game. It seemed like LeBron and company would win the game and keep the series alive. But then, in the final minute, KD launched one of the most cold-blooded shots in NBA Finals history.
Durant for 3. It's good. Kevin Durant from downtown, and Golden State takes the lead.
Cleveland still had a chance to win it, but suddenly they couldn't buy a bucket, and they didn't score a single point in the final 3 minutes. The Warriors won the game, snatching a 3-0 series lead. Then the Cavs somehow managed to win Game 4 in what was arguably the best offensive game ever in the finals, hitting 24 threes, an NBA playoff record. But it was clear to everybody that they couldn't sustain that kind of shooting and win the ring against these Warriors. In Game 5, Golden State finished the job, finishing the playoffs with 16 wins and only 1 loss, which was the best postseason run in NBA history.
There it is, redemption for Golden State. One of the great playoff runs of all time is complete.
KD finally won that first title that had eluded him for so long. He averaged an unreal 35.2 points, 8.6 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 1 steal, and 1.6 blocks per game, while shooting 56% from the field, 47% from 3, and 93% on free throws. It was one of the best finals performances of all time. And, of course, KD won the finals MVP. And yet, despite Durant's and Golden State's greatness, the basketball world wasn't impressed.
A lot of people enjoyed seeing y'all lose in 2016. And a lot of those people were upset that we were so good, and they're still upset.
When KD joined the Warriors, it was kind of expected that they should win, and their championship looked too easy. They had 2 MVPs on their team, a reigning Defensive Player of the Year, and Klay Thompson, the best 2-way shooting guard in the NBA. All of them were an average age of 27, which is considered a prime for basketball players. Add Iguodala, Sean Livingston, David West, JaVale McGee, and Zaza Pachulia, all playing phenomenal basketball off the bench, and then you have an absolute juggernaut. Their offense had so many systematic solutions and so much talent that defenses had to pick their poison. Either give up a wide-open dunk or let 3 of the best shooters ever have an open shot. Golden State's defense was mobile and super connected. They created a lot of turnovers and killed opponents in transition. Sure, they didn't have a dominant post scorer, and if they faced a top talent on the low block like Prime Shaq, that would certainly give them problems. But given the style of play and the state of the league in 2017, those were minimal flaws. However, it's one thing to dominate, and it's a whole different ballgame to become a dynasty.
We know how tough it's going to be. We know how hard it is to be the best team in the league. I think we're all ready for that challenge.
And in 2018, this unbelievable Warriors team had a tougher road than anyone expected. They won 58 games in the regular season. Their defense dropped out of the top 10 best in the league, and overall, they didn't look as smooth and connected as they did the year before. Injuries played their part. But still, the Dubs had so much talent that they easily won the first round against the Spurs, despite Curry not playing. In the second round, Steph returned, and they defeated the Pelicans in 5 games, securing a matchup that every NBA fan hoped for, a clash with the #1 seeded Rockets and the league MVP, James Harden. The Rockets built their whole roster to be able to match up with the Warriors. And suddenly, Golden State's players looked mortal again. Houston pushed the Warriors out of their comfort zone by slowing down the pace as much as possible, with an average possession lasting 18 seconds. They also attacked the Warriors one-on-one to avoid double teams, and they killed the Dubs on the glass with their offensive rebounding. But whenever Kerr had faced a deficit in any game, he simply used the death lineup, which no team had an answer for, except for Houston. With PJ Tucker at center and long defenders at the wings, the Rockets neutralized the best 5-man lineup in NBA history with their own version of small ball. With dominant switch defenses, the Rockets shut down Golden State's motion offense and forced them to attack through isolations, which put Splash Brothers in discomfort for much of the series. After 5 games, the Rockets had a 3-2 lead, and it seemed like the Warriors' dynasty was in serious jeopardy.
Has to force one.
Except in the final moments of Game 5, Chris Paul got hurt and was ruled out for the series. Game 6 was a blowout, with the Warriors winning by 29, and everybody expected the same result in Game 7. And yet, the Rockets started the deciding game playing out of their minds. Houston had an 11-point lead at the half, and it looked like David could somehow beat Goliath. But then, the Warriors hit that turbo button again and hit a series of threes to turn the game around. The game was still close until the end, but then the Rockets missed 27 threes in a row, and it was all over. The Dubs made another final, and for the 4th straight year, they faced LeBron and the Cavs. But this time, King James was without Kyrie, and it was a miracle that he even made the finals because it looked like he was playing with some bystanders that he picked up on the street on his way to the arena. However, in Game 1, LeBron proved that he is one of the GOATs by scoring 51 points.
Curry gets inside and throws it down.
Only for J.R. Smith to forget the score of the game in the final moments and pass up a potential game-winning shot.
I look at Bron like pointing like this. Oh, is he pointing at? I look over, oh man. And then after that, it was just like, I know this shit ain't just happened. Not in the finals.
After that, it was all over, and the Warriors' next title was a walk in the park as they swept the Cavs. The only close game was Game 3, which was again clinched by a Kevin Durant deep 3 from virtually the same spot as the year before.
Kevin Durant way outside, delivers! Kevin Durant from downtown, it's a 6-point game.
With 29 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and over 2 blocks per game, and 50-40-90 shooting splits, Durant deservedly won another Finals MVP.
It's incredible. It's good for you to be around guys like this. It helps you become a better basketball player and a better man. And it's a journey that's better than a destination. You know, I'm happy I'm a part of this group.
But after the finals, a familiar feeling was felt. Nobody was impressed. Everybody expected the Warriors to win again. And in 2019, this feeling started to creep into the Warriors themselves. They seemed to be just going through the motions. And for the first time in the Kerr era, the Dubs started to have chemistry problems. In a close game against the Clippers, Draymond took the ball and refused to pass it to KD, messing up the play completely and losing the game. Instead of saying, "my bad," Draymond went berserk, cussing out Durant and telling him that he could leave the team. Durant was in his contract year, and he wasn't entirely happy in Golden State anymore.
Communication is key. We didn't show that, and that's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
After this incident, Draymond got suspended by the team, but their chemistry issues were never solved.
They told me right then and there, like, we're going to suspend you for this game. I laughed in their face, literally laughed in their face.
However, Golden State was still the NBA royalty, with more talent than any other team. Still, their infamous motion offense got more stagnant, and Durant didn't buy into the team concept as much as before. Instead, he began playing like he did in OKC, using his otherworldly basketball talent to score in isolation. But because he was KD, it worked, and the Warriors were winning.
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
Y'all know who I am.
They got past the Rockets again, far easier than last time, despite losing Durant to injury after Game 5. KD wouldn't play a second of the conference finals, but the Dubs still swept Portland and got to the finals for the 5th consecutive year. But against the Raptors, which were led by Kawhi Leonard and were far more talented than any team the Dubs faced that year, the Warriors were in trouble, with Draymond completely losing faith in his shot and aging Iguodala and Livingston, and a thin bench. Golden State was suddenly lacking firepower. After 4 games, they were losing 3-1 and were on the brink of a loss. If they wanted to have any shot at another title, they desperately needed KD. So, despite still nursing the calf injury, Durant finally suited up.
First 4 games, the Raptors were dominant and lead 3-1. But all of a sudden, Golden State has a new addition. Kevin Durant will play.
And for the first quarter of Game 5, it looked like the Warriors were back. With Durant in the lineup, the Raptors couldn't throw all their defenders at Steph, and Golden State's offense was breathing again. Defensively, KD was a huge help too, and was one of the rare guys who could match up with Kawhi one-on-one. But the dream of defending the title lasted for 14 minutes. Early in the second quarter, Durant tried to drive by Serge Ibaka when he heard a pop and fell to the floor. His Achilles was gone, and he knew it immediately. The Warriors somehow won Game 5, but without Durant, and then also Klay Thompson, who tore his ACL in Game 6, their season was over, and the Raptors were the new NBA champs. But while it's true that Durant came to an already built team, a winning team, this series perfectly showed how important he was for the Warriors and how much they needed him to win championships. While many will discredit KD's legacy because he won his only 2 championships on Steph Curry's team, it was clear that Durant was the best Warriors player. KD was always considered a phenom because he was a 7-footer with the athleticism, ball handling, and shooting ability of a guard. He was always a scoring machine. But it was when he joined the Warriors that he became a complete player and one of the best to ever touch a basketball. When he played in Oakland, KD was in his athletic prime, packing 30 more pounds of muscle than when he got drafted, and about 10 pounds more than he has now, because he's had to shed some weight after his Achilles injury to avoid getting injured again. While his basketball growth stagnated in OKC, when he got to the Warriors, Durant had added something new to his game each season. He became more comfortable moving without the ball in year 1, completely buying into the Warriors' motion offense with lots of screens and cuts. Durant became a phenomenal defender in year 2, averaging a career-high 1.8 blocks per game. In fact, before he got injured and missed the last 2 months of the regular season, he was in strong consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. And finally, he became a better playmaker in year 3, averaging a career-high 5.9 assists per game, which was more than Curry, who was the team's point guard. Durant's feel for the game had grown by leaps and bounds, and while he was known primarily as a scorer, a team could now run the whole offense through him as point forward, similar to LeBron. And just like LeBron perfected his game and made it complete in Miami, Durant did the same thing in Golden State. They were both ostracized because of their decisions, they both won 2 championships with their new teams, and ultimately, they both became the best players in the world. It's a bit of a shame that just when KD finally took that crown from LeBron, he got injured. If he stayed healthy, the Warriors would have probably defeated the Raptors, and KD would win 3 Finals MVP in a row, a feat achieved only by Michael Jordan and Shaq. The Warriors had weaknesses that could be exploited before Durant arrived, and he gave them an answer for everything.
He was everything we could have asked for. He represented us on the court, he represented us off the court.
In his 3 playoff runs with the Warriors, KD averaged 37-5 on 50-40-90 shooting while playing great defense. Durant was the one who coined the term unicorn when talking about Kristaps Porzingis, meaning that he's a 7-footer who can do everything on the floor. But it is still Durant himself who is the best unicorn in basketball history. And while many will criticize the Warriors for adding Durant to a team that won 73 games the year before, it's undeniable that this group was one of the best teams of all time, along with the Bulls in '96, the Celtics in '86, and the Lakers in '01. And for more content on all things NBA, keep watching Nonstop.
I'm Klay Thompson.
I'm Stephen Curry, and we're the Splash Brothers.
13 seasons, 6,228 made three-pointers, 15 All-Star appearances, and 4 NBA championships. But now, it's all over. The best backcourt in NBA history won't play together anymore after setting numerous NBA records that will be almost impossible to beat. This is the story of the Splash Brothers, how good they were actually, and how they changed basketball forever. And the story of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson started almost identically. Steph's father, Dell, played in the NBA for 16 years, while Klay's dad, Michael, had a 13-year career and won 2 championships. Steph's mother, Sonia, was a standout volleyball player at Virginia Tech, just like Klay's mom, Julie, who played volleyball at the University of Portland. Their brothers, Seth Curry and Michael Thompson, also played in the NBA.
You know, having my dad play in the league and watching him do what he did, like, just made me want to work harder. When I was 13, I decided I was just going to play only basketball. I got rid of the other sports. Me and my brother would go up to the, at the Air Canada Center, we'd go up to the practice facility and we'd shoot for the first half. And then we go watch the second half.
And despite being born into athletic families with early access to the NBA, neither Steph nor Klay was highly recruited in high school. Curry was a 3-star recruit and didn't receive offers from major universities, eventually landing at a mid-major basketball program at Davidson College. On the other hand, Klay was a 4-star recruit and had some decent offers, but nobody guaranteed him a starting spot. So, just like Steph, he chose to go to a lesser-known basketball program, joining Washington State. They both spent 3 years in college, and they both left college as their respective schools' all-time leaders in free throw percentage and made three-pointers, as well as single-season leaders in points. The Golden State Warriors drafted Curry 7th overall in 2009, while Klay got drafted 2 years later as the 11th overall pick. And despite their shooting pedigree, nobody could predict what was to come after their first season, especially because Steph and Klay played in just 26 games and didn't start together in any of them. And to top things off, they barely spoke to each other.
I don't think me and Steph said a word to each other the first year, to be honest. Like, Steph only played like 20 games that year. I was riding the bench first 30 games of the year. I'll get in. I was like a shooter off the bench.
But those 26 games were supposed to be the only games that Curry and Thompson played as teammates, and the Splash Brothers could have never become a thing. See, during the 2012 trade deadline, the Warriors had already agreed to trade Steph to Milwaukee. The deal had already gone through, but at the last second, the Bucks doctors informed the team of Curry's ankle problems, believing that he'd have permanent issues. So the Bucks gave up on Curry and ended up taking Monte Ellis instead. Ellis was a fan favorite in Golden State, and the Warriors fans were pissed that the Dubs traded him and not Steph. However, in their first season as a full-time starting backcourt, Curry and Thompson quickly shut down all the critics. In 2012-13, Steph and Klay combined to make 483 three-pointers, which was the most ever by a pair of teammates. Also, Curry set an NBA record with 272 three-pointers in a season, while Thompson added 211, at the time the 22nd best mark in league history. During the season, the Warriors coach Mark Jackson dubbed them
the greatest shooting backcourt that's ever played this game,
which was greeted with a great deal of skepticism, since they hadn't even played a full season together.
The way they practiced, the way they prepared, how serious they took their gift, it was an easy call for me. And to close that statement, after I made the statement, I said it ain't even close. If you don't believe me, call my bluff.
Around that same time, the writer for the Warriors website, Brian Witt, started calling Klay and Steph the Splash Brothers, as a wordplay from baseball players Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire, who were known as the Bash Brothers when they played for the Oakland A's. Soon enough, as the threes continued splashing through the NBA nets, the nickname spread, and the legend of the Splash Brothers was born.
Everything had been building in terms of, you know, understanding who we were, what we needed to tweak a little bit to take that next step.
But even more importantly than breaking the three-point record and getting a cool nickname, Steph and Klay pushed the Warriors to the 6th seed in the West, which was the best result for the franchise since 1994. In the first round, Golden State defeated the Nuggets, which was only the second series the Warriors had won since 1991 and the Run TMC era. But in the second round, despite a formidable effort, the Dubs fell to the Spurs 4-2. And then in the 2013-14 season, Steph and Klay continued to improve and shatter three-point records. Curry and Thompson became the first teammates to finish first and second in made three-pointers, breaking their record from the previous season by 1-3. However, despite great expectations, Golden State lost their first-round playoff series to the Clippers in Game 7. after which coach Mark Jackson got fired and was replaced by rookie head coach Steve Kerr.
My whole point was, like, if you fire Coach Jackson, you just got to get the next hire right, because we're in a position now where we can take that next hire, but you can't mess it up.
During the offseason, the Splash Brothers teamed up for the 2014 World Cup, where they won gold for Team USA. Steph and Klay combined to make more three-pointers than any other duo in the tournament, accounting for 43 of Team USA's 77 threes.
We really didn't get to know each other till about our third year in the league. Our relationship really didn't build till our third year when we played that Team USA, and we finally hung out off the court because we had nothing else to do, so we went and played golf. But that summer of 2014 kind of glued us together, and we just became good friends after that.
But before the 2014-15 season started, the Splash Brothers were nearly separated once again. The Warriors seriously considered trading Thompson for all-star power forward Kevin Love. And if it wasn't for Jerry West, who threatened to leave the team immediately if the Warriors traded Klay, the Dubs would have made the huge mistake.
The people inside know that the trade for Klay and Kevin Love was, I don't want to say imminent, but it was a very real conversation. Look, the amount of threes that Kevin Love shoots is very similar to Klay, and now we have a big that can shoot, and we have and they like begged him to do not trade Klay, do not.
But because of Jerry's ultimatum and influence with the franchise, Thompson stayed, and the Splash Brothers were saved once again, quickly proving that Jerry West was one of the smartest people in basketball. Because when the season started, Golden State had the best team in the NBA.
You don't see him going in there dunking balls, jumping all over the place. He just plays the game. I mean, he's tremendous. He's going to get better too, by the way.
The Warriors finished Kerr's first season with a league-best 67-15 record, and by far the best result in franchise history. They led the NBA in pace, assists, three-point percentage, field goal percentage, and defensive rating, and were second in offensive rating, blocks, and threes made. Curry broke his own record for three-pointers made with 286, and Thompson again finished second with 239. Their combined 525 threes surpassed their previous record by 41, and they converted 44% of their threes, an unheard of efficiency for such a high volume.
Bombing away from three like we do kind of flipped the basketball world upside down. I think we're seeing that at all levels of basketball now, which a lot of people say it's ruined the game, but I think it's kind of just been an innovative aspect of the game, to be honest.
This season was the breakout year for the Splash Brothers, marked by many great performances by both players, but none greater than Thompson's game against the Sacramento Kings on January 23, 2015. Klay scored an insane 37 points in the third quarter, going 13 for 13 from the field, including 9 for 9 on three-pointers. Those 9 threes in a quarter were an NBA record that still stands, just like his 37-point total for one quarter. I think that 37-point quarter is still the greatest basketball experience I've ever had in my life. It was like he was in a trance, and we were all there just in the trance together with him. That was an out-of-body experience for everybody who was in the building that night. Steve Kerr. Klay finished with 52 that night, and he and Steph Curry became just the 7th pair of teammates to score 50 in the same season, and the first since 1995. Steph won the 2015 MVP award, and the Splash Brothers were both named to All-NBA teams. It was the first time Warriors teammates were named All-NBA in the same season since Chris Mullin and Tim Hardaway in 1992, and they were the first backcourt teammates to make All-NBA since 1980.
And then the one time in Golden State where you went in between the whole team at the free throw, came out and turnaround shot, and then when Kerr was like, and he made it, it was probably one of the most unbelievable shots being a basketball mind. I was like, these got next, and it's going to be next for a minute.
Steph and Klay's constant movement in Kerr's motion offense was something we've never seen before from backcourt players, and their pace and shot-making ability often left defenders dumbfounded, as they simply weren't used to running after two guys for an entire offensive possession. On top of offensive firepower, Klay established himself as a top-notch perimeter defender, able to slide his feet and contest shots with his big frame and 6'9" wingspan. However, despite Golden State being a complete team offensively and defensively, with the 7th best net rating in NBA history, many people doubted that they could win the title.
Jumpers, I always said jumpers are like pretty girls. They're really good looking when they going in, but then when you realize that pretty girl is dumb, you're in for a long date.
And after they won their first-round series, the Warriors fell behind 2-1 against the Grizzlies, and it seemed like their fairy tale season would end soon. But then Coach Kerr made an adjustment by closing out the paint and completely ignoring Tony Allen at the three-point line, which made all the difference. As Allen kept missing, the Warriors once again proved the power of the three-pointer and advanced to the conference finals, where they defeated the Rockets 4-1. The Dubs made their first finals since Rick Barry led them to the title in 1975. But still, very few people believed that they could match up with LeBron and the Cavs. But after injuries to Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, LeBron lacked the firepower to outmuscle the Warriors by himself. After Kerr smartly inserted Andre Iguodala in the starting lineup, it changed the series, and Golden State won the finals in 6 games, with Iguodala as the finals MVP.
It's just a whole nother level of freedom after that. Like, you got one.
Yeah.
Like, we can get greedy now.
Curry didn't receive any votes for the finals MVP, as all the votes went to Iguodala and LeBron. And that's kind of a shame, because Steph was the engine of the Warriors, whose shooting and movement created so much space and wreaked havoc on opposing defenses. Not to mention that he also averaged 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, compared to Iggy's 16, 6, and 4. But even after such a dominant season, the Warriors still had doubters. Many believed their season was a fluke and didn't get the memo that pace and space basketball was the future. So the Warriors just kept chucking threes and running circles around everybody. In 2016, the average team attempted 24 threes per game, while the Warriors led the NBA with 32 three-point attempts. The average pace was 95, while the Warriors had a pace of 99. Which meant that in a 48-minute game, they had 4 more possessions than the average team. And the Dubs broke the record for the best offensive rating in NBA history.
We started off 24-0. That part of it alone was
That's sick.
that was...
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, that part was the craziest thing in the world, just because we had OD confidence, we had chemistry, like you said. Let's just go win every single game.
The Warriors entered the All-Star break in 2015-16 with a 48-4 record, the best start in NBA history, and they finished the season with 73 wins and just 9 losses, which surpassed the NBA record of 72-10 set by the 1996 Bulls. Steph repeated as MVP, also becoming the first unanimous MVP in league history. Curry led the NBA in scoring with 30.1 points per game, in steals with 2.1, and in free throw percentage with 91%. His 402 made threes in the season shattered his previous record of 286, and he became the first player to pass 300 threes and then 400 threes in a season. During the season, Steph tied Kobe Bryant and Daniel Marshall's record with 12 threes in a single game, and he also became just the 7th player in history to shoot 50, 40, 90 for the season. Many consider his 2016 campaign as the greatest shooting season in NBA history. Klay made 276 threes himself, and combined, they made 678 shots behind the arc, which is still the record. The Splash Brothers were also the highest-scoring duo in the NBA with an average of 52.2 points per game. When the playoffs started, Golden State breezed past the Rockets and the Blazers. But in the conference finals against OKC, they found themselves on the brink of elimination with a 3-1 deficit. The Dubs won the game at home, but in Game 6 in OKC, it seemed like it was all over, when the Thunder held an 8-point lead going into the fourth quarter. But then, Game 6 Klay appeared, completely erasing the deficit with an array of improbable threes. Thompson went ballistic, dropping 41 points on 11 for 18 shooting from downtown, and the Warriors escaped with a victory. His 11 threes was an NBA playoff record. In Game 7, the Splash Brothers scored 57 of the Warriors' 96 points, securing another trip to the NBA Finals. The Splash Brothers were the first NBA players to finish with at least 30 three-pointers in a playoff series, and their 62 combined makes exceeded the Thunder's team total of 55. And against the Cavs in the finals, after 4 games, it seemed like the Dubs had another chip in the bag, with a 3-1 series lead. But then, Draymond got suspended for hitting a player in the family jewels, and in Game 5, the Warriors lost center Andrew Bogut. Without their 2 big men, and thanks to 41 from Kyrie and LeBron, the Cavs won Game 5, and then also Game 6 at home. In the deciding Game 7, the Splash Brothers struggled, scoring 14 and 17 points. But thanks to the best game of Draymond Green's career, who shot lights out and scored 32 points, the Dubs were still in play to win it all. But then LeBron's block, Kyrie's shot, and K-Love's stop on Steph helped the Cavs become the first team in NBA history to overcome a 3-1 deficit in the finals.
Playoff run, obviously 73-9. Then we get into the playoffs, I get hurt, miss like 3 weeks of the playoffs, come back. We get to Western Conference Finals, we're down 3-1. Like, people think our season's over with. Come back. So we were on both sides of a 3-1 situation. And then in the finals, obviously, I think the wheels just fell off. And Kyrie and LeBron played unbelievable for 3 straight games. Like, I don't think people talk about that part of it as much. It's always like, we all sucked. Like, we got beat. Like, we didn't lose, we got beat.
However, this loss proved to be very beneficial for the Warriors because it allowed them to add Kevin Durant.
I don't know. If we win, we might not get Kevin. So, like, it all worked out, but that one hurt.
If Golden State had won, KD likely wouldn't have wanted to join the team that had just won 2 chips without him. But because they lost, it was clear that the Warriors kinda needed him, just like he needed them.
A lot of people enjoyed seeing y'all lose in 2016. And a lot of those people were upset that we were so good. And they're still upset.
And with KD alongside the Splash Brothers, the 2017 Warriors became arguably the best team of all time. They finished the season with 67 wins, had the best offensive rating ever at the time, the 3rd best net rating ever, and led the NBA in points, blocks, steals, assists, and field goal percentage. Curry and Thompson became the first 2 players in NBA history to make at least 200 three-pointers in 5 consecutive seasons. And early in the season against the Pelicans, Steph broke the NBA record for the most three-pointers made in a single game, with 13, shooting 13 for 17 from deep.
Even like my 10 years being here, I feel like I've played for 3 different teams. Team that sucked, to the team trying to figure it out, and to the established team that we got now, where we're very confident in who we are, what we all bring to the table. I like this one.
The highlight of Clay's season was on December 5th, when he scored 60 points in 29 minutes, using just 11 dribbles to score his points.
Just one of those days where everything felt great. I mean, 40 in the first half, that's hard to do. But I was getting good looks the whole night. With the gravity that KD and Steph brought to the team, I was getting wide open looks, so.
He became the first player in NBA history to score 60 points in less than 30 minutes of action, and also the first Warrior to score 60 points since Rick Barry did it in 1974. In the playoffs, the Warriors swept all 3 series in the West, with Curry leading the Dubs in scoring in each series. And for the 3rd straight time, Golden State and Cleveland squared off in the finals, in what was arguably the best offensive finals series ever. Golden State convincingly won the first 2 games at home, and just when it looked like the Cavs would win Game 3, KD showed why the Warriors badly needed him.
Durant for 3. It's good. Kevin Durant from downtown, and Golden State takes the lead.
The Cavs managed to avoid getting swept, but with so much offensive firepower and defensive versatility, there was no stopping these Warriors, and the Splash Brothers deservedly celebrated their 2nd championship.
There it is. Redemption for Golden State. One of the great playoff runs of all time is complete.
While KD was crowned the Finals MVP, Steph nearly averaged a triple-double in the Finals, and Clay contributed with phenomenal defense and 42% shooting for 3. However, in 2018, the Dubs took their foot off the gas in the regular season. Steph and Clay still averaged their usual numbers, extending their record for consecutive seasons with 200 made three-pointers. But in the playoffs, the Warriors didn't walk over everybody like the previous year, and were on the brink of elimination against the Rockets in the conference finals, trailing 3-2 in the series, and then down double digits at halftime of Game 7. However, thanks to 27 consecutive missed three-pointers by the Rockets, the Dubs escaped with a victory. In the Warriors-Cavs Finals Volume 4, the only competitive game was the first one, when J.R. Smith spoiled LeBron's 49-point game by forgetting the score in the final seconds.
I look at Bron like pointing like this. Oh, is he pointing at? I look over, oh man. And then after that, it was just like, I know this just happened. Not in the finals.
And after they won Game 1, the Dubs cruised to another title, sweeping the Cavs, with Durant repeating as the Finals MVP. When the 2019 season started, the Warriors continued to tear the competition apart with a 10-1 start. However, Klay Thompson wasn't playing to his usual standards, and over the first 7 games of the season, Thompson shot 5 for 36 from behind the arc and failed to have a single 20-point game. But then, against Chicago, Klay found his shot and got into one of those zones that most players can only dream of. Thompson made 10 threes in the first half, which tied an NBA record. And in the second half, he added 4 more three-pointers, breaking Curry's record for most threes in a game. Klay scored 52 points in 27 minutes, while making 14 of his 24 threes. And for the 7th consecutive season, the Splash Brothers made at least 200 three-pointers. And each time they did it with over 40% shooting from downtown, which is insane. However, Steph and Klay making threes wasn't news anymore, and the Warriors' 2019 season will mostly be remembered by interpersonal problems, highlighted by the KD and Draymond clash in a game against the Clippers.
Communication is key. We didn't show that, and that's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
But despite everything, Golden State was still the heavy favorite to win the title.
That's the hard part. When you're at the top, it's a daily reminder. You have to come in with the right perspective. One person slips or one rumor, narrative cements itself in your head. Like, we were on spotlight all the time.
And then KD got hurt in the second round of the playoffs. Without their best player, the Warriors' season was in jeopardy. But thankfully, the Splash Brothers were still there. Steph and Klay closed out the series with the Rockets with a combined 60 points in the deciding Game 3. And then in the conference finals, they swept the Blazers, combining for 58 points per game, which was more than half of all the Warriors' points. But in the finals against the Raptors, who had a deep team, the Dubs were suddenly lacking firepower. The Splash Brothers were still a handful, but nobody else on the Warriors could provide much scoring, and the Raptors took a 3-1 series lead.
The first 4 games, the Raptors were dominant and lead 3-1. But all of a sudden, Golden State has a new addition. Kevin Durant will play.
But then, KD miraculously returned, despite still nursing a calf injury, and everything was clicking again. And with KD's presence, the Raptors couldn't guard the Splash Brothers with multiple defenders anymore. Then, early in the second quarter, KD fell to the floor with the worst possible outcome, a torn Achilles. The Warriors still won Game 5, but in Game 6, they also lost Klay, who suffered a knee injury that would later be diagnosed as a torn ACL. Being the hothead and competitor that he is, Klay still tried to get back in the game and continue the best shooting series of his career. Because prior to the injury, Thompson averaged 26 points on 54% shooting from the field and an insane 59% for 3. But without 2 of their best 3 players, the Warriors couldn't fend off Kawhi and the Raptors, who won their first NBA championship. And after 5 consecutive finals, a feat that no other franchise accomplished other than the 1960s Celtics, the Warriors had the second worst season in franchise history.
So it's hard to separate yourself and really be okay with, this might not be our year. That's a really hard thing to accept.
Golden State finished with a league-worst 15-50 record in the 2019-2020 season. Thompson missed the entire season rehabilitating his injury, and Curry was limited to 5 games all season after breaking his left hand. And just before the start of the 2021 season, Thompson tore his right Achilles tendon while playing a pickup game and was ruled out for a second straight year.
To get that call was a gut punch for sure. A lot of tears, you don't really know what to say because a guy like that having to go through 2 pretty serious rehabs now. But at the end of the day, we have to have his back. We hope that he's around and he's part of what we're going to do this year through his rehab and staying connected with us.
Without his backcourt mate, Curry had the best individual season of his career, playing the best defense of his life on top of leading the NBA in scoring with 32 points per game and hitting a league-high 337 threes.
It was a special year, all things considered, and a new experience for me. Tried to make the most of it, come back, bottle this up, everybody make the right strides, take advantage of the summer, and don't want to see us next year.
At the start of the 2022 season, in Madison Square Garden, Steph made his 2,974th career three-pointer to pass Ray Allen and become the NBA's all-time three-point scoring leader.
The all-time three-point king in the NBA!
Curry also won his first MVP at the All-Star Game after scoring 50 points in the game.
52's the record.
2 points shy of the NBA record set by Anthony Davis. But before the All-Star break, a more important thing happened. Klay Thompson finally returned to action after 2.5 years and 941 days since that Game 6 of the 2019 Finals. And while Klay's explosiveness and lateral movement weren't the same as before, he quickly regained his shooting form. finishing the season with averages of 20.4 points per game and 39% efficiency from deep, which was the first time he ever shot below 40% for three.
We all know I can still shoot. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna figure out how to, move, get off the dribble stuff. Like, yeah, I'm sure that'll come. Last thing that's gonna come is, meeting people at the rim, getting a couple bodies. Like, yeah, don't press yourself. Like, just stay within yourself. Like, it took that man 9 minutes, and he was crossing over, going in the lane. And when he dunked it, like, I lost it. I was on the bench going nuts, going crazy. He got up, and he was like, oh, I'm back.
Yeah. However, in the playoffs, the Warriors look like their old selves again, defeating the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, and the Mavericks to advance to another NBA Finals. In each of those three series, Steph and Klay led the Warriors in scoring, combining for 46 points per game on average. But in the NBA Finals against the Celtics, things looked bleak for the Warriors, as Boston took a 2-1 lead in the series. Then, in Game 4, Steph played arguably the best game of his career, putting the team on his back and leading the Dubs to victory with 43 points and 10 rebounds.
Step back, three-pointer, bang! Steph Curry drills the
Celtics never recovered from that loss, as Golden State won the next 2 games and their 4th title in the Splash Brothers era, with Curry unanimously winning the Finals MVP. During the Finals, Thompson joined Curry at the top of the all-time playoff leaders in three-pointers, and as of today, they are the only 2 players with more than 500 made threes in the postseason. They are also occupying the number 1 and number 2 spot in three-pointers made in the NBA Finals, and they share a single postseason record with 98 made threes. Combining the playoffs and the regular season, the Splash Brothers have made 7,347 three-pointers, a record that's likely never going to be broken by a pair of teammates. And even though their last 2 seasons have been disappointing for the Warriors, and especially Klay, who struggled in the 2023 playoffs and the 2024 play-in, the legacy of the Splash Brothers can't be tarnished. Even though Klay signed for the Mavs, whatever happens for the rest of their careers, Steph and Klay will always be linked together as the greatest backcourt in NBA history.
I mean, he's been a great teammate for 8 years, even a better friend. You root for guys like Steph because he doesn't take any shortcuts.
Obviously, Klay, he's just so one of a kind, man.
Yeah.
Low-key,
Cool
can
as a
blend in with
fan.
anybody, knows his role, is competitive as hell.
Hopefully, we can go down as one of the greater backcourts to ever play.
Thanks for watching. And if you like this one, subscribe and keep watching nonstop.
You guys will be like, oh, hyperdimensional co-op link this. And I'm like, bro, I just got here, bro. Can you explain what that means? I don't know what hyperdimensional link is, bro. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I actually don't know. You just say a term and assume it's general knowledge. I've never heard of that in my life.
All right, let's do this.
Oh, this is a hassle. I mean, if I get this easy A, I'll be eaten, so. What is a hyperdimensional link? I made that up on the spot. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? It made no sense because it doesn't exist. But you guys are saying stuff that exists that I just don't know. So it's the same thing. It doesn't exist. I just made it up. I just made it up on the spot.
All right, let's do this.
I'm going back to boss rush, bro. That was easier and I was having some fun because I could actually use some of my brain without having to do too much with these. Oh my god, bro. Yeah, with boss rush, I feel like I'm getting used to the bubble popping. So it's enjoyable. I'm just adjusting to the game. Like, my brain's automatically moving to which bubbles are optimal. So I'm getting used to it. It's more fun than just relying on one unit that's going to clear it anyways. Like, I'm literally loading in. If I don't get Vegito, I leave. I guess so, man. Whoops. I tweaked. I know I tweaked on that one. No, I'm not clearing it though. I don't think I'm clearing it. Like, regardless. I tweaked on the bubbles. Even my abuela know that.
Alright, let's do this.
I don't think I'm gonna clear this either, to be frank. Rosie, them Dokkan videos take a minute to edit. Double reds is dark. See, even I'm adapting.
Alright, let's do this.
If I can just get Vegito with God Bros and a good bubble rotation, I should be fine. Should I go for the blue bubbles here or the green ones? Because I was gonna go for the blues because there's more, but I want to make sure that I'm not tweaking. All right, cool. I knew I wasn't tweaking. All right, let's see. This might be the one, boys. Oh, and I'm getting the Kais as well. Nice. Say goodbye. Give me my stones, bro. He's done. He's done. He's done. He's done. Alright, cool. We ran through that. MUI is 100% slot 1 unit. I'll keep that in mind. He always goes first if he's there. Thank you for the information. What's next? Back to boss rush one more time, because this is frying me otherwise. Boss rush is like a break for me. Need my stones. Do you reckon I should change my team now? Because you said I have the, like, now that I have, you know, his easy A, do you reckon I should change my team a tiny bit? Should I put him leader or should I take off somebody else? You know, who should I take off? Because Vegito's staying, I know, Tech Goku, whatever you want to call him. Who should I take off? STR Vegito. Take off this guy. Take off GT. Like this? Like this. We good to eat or no? Alright, let's go.
Alright, let's do this.
Alright, let's do this. Alright, so he's always slot 1 and he's always slot 3. And didn't you say this unit is best at slot 2? So isn't this like a perfect lineup according to the information I have? But let me know if I'm learning or not. I'm just trying to apply things I've been told. I understand it now. I understand it now. I understand it now. Talk that talk, Zach. We talking that talk. I might stream Dokkan tomorrow as well. Just based off the fact that Legend Zenkaiing like a 4-year-old unit and thinking I'm gonna be bugging. So my favorite villain. Yeah, but that unit is buns. I promise you, if Legends, which they never have, fumble a premium Vegito, I'll be the first to say it. But unfortunately, that's an impossible feat. Zenkai VB. The thing is though, Purple Cell wasn't even great on release. And I don't think his Zenkai will be astronomically great because his fundamental, the green card, the template of his green card just... It's like whatever. His green card gives me concern. So I don't trust the devs to handle him correctly. UI doesn't need to always be slot 1. The only time he needs to be slot 1 is the enemy attacks first in slot 1, giving your units no chance to stack and build up their defense. I mean, isn't it just always safest to keep him slot 1 anyways then? Oh, this is not... It doesn't even matter. I should be able to clear it regardless. The first enemy is purple, but like, it should be fine regardless. Ultra velocity, if that happens, then we'll see. Ugh. I got a question for you Dokkan players. So do you guys remember things even of characters that you don't use? Or is it just the characters you use? Because this is a PvE game, I feel like there's not a need. Every character. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch MUI's whole active skill. I haven't seen it today.
I ain't no hero of justice or anything else like that. But anyone who tries to hurt my friends...
This guy's a liar!
It's gonna pay!
Bro talking about, I ain't no hero of justice or anything like that. What? He was talking crazy on Namek. Goku just be lying, bro. I am the warrior you've heard of in legends, pure of heart and awakened by fury. That's what I am. Bro, this guy's a liar. Goku just be switching up depending on his opponent. I had to look up the quote. Anime exclusive. There's a lot of anime exclusive things, to be fair. How much can you see with those Sharingan of yours? Have I seen The Weeknd's new album? I'm not the hose. I have no reason to listen to The Weeknd album. Oh, I wanted to put them together, but I can't because I won't get the link. Any Goku quote is tough. I like this active skill. I like this one. Do you know why? Because it's quick. I want to get things done. I'm going to be using him a lot. Gogeta's doing all this. I ain't trying to see all that. I'm not gonna lie. At least not when I'm trying to actually get places. Another question. I got another question that just came to my mind. How do I word this? There was some events I remember seeing in Dokkan that are like, you need to use very specific characters to do it. That's the best way I can explain it. And some of them are like, you need free-to-play characters. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're like URs or SSRs that I need. I don't even know what to describe them as, but like, are those characters obtainable? Or if I've missed them, I've missed them. Like, I think there was a Ginyu Force event that I couldn't play because I literally don't have them. So I was thinking, oh, whoa, how do I go about this one? Support memory stages. They're grindable at any point. Okay. There's so much in the Dokkan menus that it's not exactly clear. I don't know, like, you guys. That's so satisfying. But when I'm playing as a new player, like, it's not clear. I feel like that's any game though, but you know, I'm talking about Dokkan here, so I'm gonna talk. Like, do you see how many times I had to scroll down just to get to rush the boss rush? Bro, like, how many events you dropping? Clyde, kind of both. But I got my answer for both, so it's fine. Thank you.
Time to get serious.
Oh. I understand it now.
Gonna go all out.
When will I post on other channels? If I actually do something else, just no time. I put my heart in this. Vital, I'm saving for part 2. Stealth, you also asked if I'm gonna react to any anime. I'm not gonna do that because it can get your channel cooked. Nice little super attack. Yeah, I'm so happy I easy ate him. Holy crap. Yeah, I'm gonna have like 1,000 stones for part 2. Whatever character that is, you know, the character we don't know, that's getting rainbowed. Hopefully I get lucky though. MUI Goku might be my favorite right now. just off straight satisfaction, because these are going to be easy to run through. Alright, next easy A, and this is going to be the last thing I do for today. So now I have a decent enough team, you know, like I can function better. Nobody was screaming easy A, easy A. Let's go to the character list. Here we are. Who's next? Who's next? Am I streaming Friday? Yeah. Evo for sure. Don't say tech Super Gogeta. Stop. Don't say Super Gogeta. Say anybody else but Super Gogeta. There's a reason why I'm not doing Super Gogetas. Evo has the same active skill as UI. Is it quick? Is it quick? I'm there, I'm there, I'm there. I'm so there. Category final trump card. Bro, what the hell are these names I've never seen before? But I think that's like gonna be like arc enders or something. How's this looking for final trump card team? Should I change anything? What do you guys think? Help me out. Got this. I should put AGL UI on the team. Swap Gogeta. Is this Gogeta? So he can dodge? I presume that's the logic. How I get UI? I've been had him. Because I log on only in celebrations. Oh, it's the first one. It doesn't matter. UI isn't final trump card. I checked the character that I have, and he doesn't fit the conditions. It doesn't let me. Oh wait, I can auto. Yeah, I remember.
All right, let's do this.
I can relax again. I turned on auto right now. Those numbers looking crazy. I should post that on Twitter, be like, cleared the new event. Will they know? They'll probably know, actually. There's probably signs. But it's just.
Let's do this.
I'm finally dokening. I'm for sure taking a screenshot and posting that. I'm finally dokening. Yeah, Clyde, they told me, but they said that this one I can auto, so I don't need to stress about it. Finally dokening. That's going on Twitter. I'm gonna act like I know what I did. I don't know what I did. What did I do? Not gonna lie, with this pace this is, if you guys just want to hang out, I'll get a bunch of easy A's done right now. I think I'll stay here for like 50 more minutes. Noah, I was doing boss rush. I've got a bunch more to do. How many stages are there in boss rush in total? Because I've done 10. There's 40. Oh, I got dragon stones to get. And they each give you 35. Roll that. Yeah, but the easy A's give you they give you dragon stones, and like I'm getting dragon stones. You see if boss